Welcome to the Saucy Scribes podcast.
I'm Alex, your resident book psycho.
I'm Ashley, your crystal-loving cat lady.
And I'm Allie, your aspiring author.
And welcome to our episode of the deep dive of Onyx Storm.
Woo!
Yes!
What we've all been waiting for, truly.
We have.
Yes.
Since we won't be seeing you every week, we will give a brief summary of the lovely cocktails we have planned out for the entire month. So keep an eye out on our Instagram at SaucyScribesPod for the recipes as the month progresses. This month, we're toasting to Onyx Storm with a collection of cocktails inspired by each island we visit on our journey in this book. Each recipe is a tribute to each island's culture and the shocking twists that happen along our story.
First, we have the Deverelli Dagger. As dangerous as it is delicious, the Deverelli Dagger lures you in with smooth tropical sweetness, then strikes with a citrus bite and a splash of crimson for the blood that's always just beneath the surface in this glittering port city.
Then we have the Queen's Challenge. This is the drink you sip while watching champions clash in the temple. It's rich, slightly bitter, and with a slow burn that lingers like an unspoken deal.
Then we have our Shadowed Tea Mocktail. At first sip, it's soothing and refined, just like the tea Aaron mint. But the bitters give a quiet, unsettling edge, mirroring the hidden danger of the poisoned cake and Hedotus intrigue.
And now we have Zinal's Favor. Bright and festive at first sip, slightly dizzying from all the tropical notes and bubbles, capturing the unexpected magic, gifts, and celebrations of Zelna.
From poison tea to God-given gifts, every stop in Onyx Storm has its own flavor and now its own drink. Whether you're sipping tropical danger in Deverelli, minty intrigue in Hedotus, or something magical from Zelna, may your glass always be full and your dragon never far. Cheers!
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 Our Patreon is officially live. If you love the show, consider becoming a first-year scribe for just $5 a month. You'll get early access to ad-free episodes, a digital cocktail booklet for each book we cover, and an exclusive printable dust sleeve designed to mimic the look of vintage leather-bound books. Perfect for dressing up your romantasy shelf. This membership is a way to support the show and help us continue bringing this magical, messy, and swoony content to life. And if you've got a moment, we'd love if you rated and reviewed the podcast wherever you are listening.
Before we dive in, we need to give a spoiler warning. We will be discussing the entire series, including any extra POV chapters in the re-releases and anything Rebecca Yarros has said in interviews. If we reference another series spoiler, we will give a spoiler sound in the episode so you can skip ahead.
And lastly, a quick heads up from your saucy scribes. The fantasy romance world is full of magic and mayhem, but it also doesn't shy away from heavy themes. That means that the books we cover may include emotional trauma, violence, or mature content that could be upsetting. For this particular book, Rebecca Yarros gives her own trigger warning, which you can read right before the maps in the book. So consider this your cozy but clear blanket trigger warning. Feel free to step away if needed. Your well-being comes first, always. All right, scribes, let's get into it.
All right, let's start with our summary. Violet's back, the dragons are angry, the venin are extra, and Xaden, well, he's complicated. Chaos, magic, and questionable decision-making ensue. Here's everything you need to know from Onyx Storm. We open with Violet playing spy, trailing Xaden to the brig to eavesdrop on him and Jack Barlow, discussing a cure for Xaden's venin infection. Spoiler, there isn't one. 2 weeks later, while visiting Sawyer in the medical ward, venin attack Bezgaev. Violet takes down a few, realizing they're targeting Jack, and notices a silver-braided female venin who disappears after smiling at her. The Griffin Flyers are at Bezgaev, but wards block their magic, and the students who skipped the previous year's Arisha trip aren't thrilled about their presence. The Cenarium negotiates peace with Poromil, rejected, so Violet and her squad commit a little magical treason. One illegal ward tweak later, the Griffin Riders can wield magic inside Navarre. The king announces royal pardons for last year's rebels and casually promotes Xaden to Duke of Tyrrendor. Violet is slapped with a high treason charge for tampering with wards, but the king's pardons nullify it, mostly a dramatic waste of everyone's time. Meanwhile, Xaden's symptoms worsen and he struggles to resist pulling from the source. Annoyed with Violet's constant defiance, General Ato sends the squad to Samara as punishment, air quotes. Violet dreams of her house burning, and we question whether it's really her dream, wink wink. News arrives that Marin's village in Poromil has been taken by Venin. The squad rushes in only to face a trap. The silver-haired Venin Theophany appears, and Garrick shows up wielding a second signet of distance walking. Cool. Back at Basgaeth, Xaden sends Brennan to escort Marin's rescued brothers to Orisha. He and Violet share a tense kiss and discuss signets, realizing Venin may possess them too. Classes continue, Venin research intensifies in the archives with Jasinia's help, and Dane agrees to help retrieve Violet's father's research. Professors add new classes, including one Xaden teaches, forcing him and Violet into a technically forbidden romance. Prince Halden interrupts Xaden's class, flirting with Violet, revealing past drama and a cheating history while Xaden loses his shit. Halden delivers a letter from Takaris with library books and news. King Cortland of Deverelli will meet in exchange for the Emilian citrine, which Queen Mariah has agreed to give, but it must be retrieved from Anka. The squad, picked by Grady, heads into Venin territory. Aura panics, incinerates Grady, and a wyvern kills her. Theophany leaves a note for Violet, and this whole mess allows her to assemble her own quest squad. They fly then to Cordon with Halden and his guards stuck in baskets to the fandom's delight. Xaden smooth talks Halden into labeling him Duke instead of Professor so he and Violet can spend the night together. Takaris takes Halden by ship while the rest fly to Deverelli, losing magic and communication bonds. In Deverelli, they bunk at Takaris' second home. Violet tracks down Narelle, an old lady hoarding her dad's books, earning 6 heavily passworded volumes after a Croveland politics quiz. Violet and Xaden get some alone time and break a table in the process. No magic, no problem. But the squad bursts in. Of course they do. King Cortland decides to keep Halden, leaving Xaden as the only aristocrat able to rescue him. Halden is terrible, scheming theft, offering the Blade of Orisha, and generally obnoxious. Chaos ensues, guards die, and Xaden channels earth magic in a fiery tantrum. Violet intervenes to prevent full meltdown. Cortland reluctantly allows Deverelli as a base for the island search. After first returning to Basgaeth, the quest squad sets off again. Rules be damned, with Violet insisting on a straight line approach to each island. Sawyer warns of potential court-martial, but everyone shrugs. Whatever, desperate times. Halden and Xaden argue over his shady past in Deverelli, and Arik wisely steps in to replace Halden on the mission, and everyone agrees that Arik should basically be king. The squad first lands in Umbriel, demanding a challenge to meet the queen. In the temple, all the attendants have silver hair. Dane, Xaden, and Violet become the champions. Violet faces Marlis, who yields after a convenient lightning strike, but plot twist, Marlis is the queen. She allows them to shelter, setting a challenge. Bring her 12 dragon eggs, and then she'll join against the Venin. Next stop, Hedotus, a colorless, wisdom-worshipping island. Ferris, the second of the triumvirate, greets them, followed by, surprise, Xaden's mother, Talia. Xaden and Violet try to navigate awkward family drama, notice Kat and Traeger holding hands, adorable, and discover Xaden has 2 younger brothers. Dinner with the triumvirate turns deadly when Ferris poisons the cake. Garrick nearly dies, but Violet outwits the culprits with figs and her own poison counterattack. Lesson learned, never think you can outwit Violet with poison. The squad then heads to Zelna, expecting a quiet island, but are greeted by cheering crowds and real-ish magic. Calixta explains a bizarre gift-giving ritual: wine for Mira, a slap for Dane, a rusted bucket for Garrick, a compass for Violet, and a kitten named Broccoli for Drake. And yes, we all love broccoli. Traeger isn't so lucky. Rest in peace. Arik negotiates troops for the continent, and then they're off to find a deserted island to hold a pyre for Traeger. While waiting, 6 Irids confront Andarna about her scorpion tail and human bonding, refusing to return with her to fire the Orishan wardstone. Xaden's eyes shift color, earning him the title of Abomination. 2 Irids stay for questions before leaving, offering 0 help. Violet and Riddick have a tense private conversation. If Xaden ever kills another rider, civilian or dragon, he'll no longer be himself, and someone will have to stop him. Riddick agrees, but only if she informs Rhee, Sawyer, and Jasinia. With that uneasy understanding, the squad returns to Basgaeth and then sets off for Orisha, Panchek and Kaori in tow. Brennan updates Violet. He can't mend Xaden, though he's improving, 76 days since he last channeled. They finally have a quiet moment together, and Violet's second signet awakens, dreamwalking, causing accidental intrusions into others' nightmares, including Xaden's, where she discovers the sage is the true source of his torment. Orisha is attacked. Arik insists on protecting Dune's temple, but Violet dismisses him. Riders face wyverns, Taryn is injured. At the temple, attendants note Violet's half-silver hair, and the priestess confirms Dune sent her. Theophany arrives, demands Violet follow, but flees when the wards rise. Eothen powers up the temple wards, praises Andarna, and invites her to learn the Irid ways. She leaves, breaking her bond with Violet. Violet collapses into days of grief, with Mira and Brennan fussing over her. She realizes riders die with their dragons because they lose their sense of self. Family secrets surface. Her parents try to dedicate her at Umbriel, and Xaden reveals he's a dark wielder to Mira. Training resumes. Violet struggles with runes and lightning but improves, while Xaden and Bodhi clash over the war. Garrick appears bloody and reveals that Mira has been taken by Theophany, and they must bring Violet and Xaden's brother, or Dreyfus, will fall. During the fight, Violet chooses to target Theophany while others protect civilians. Mira is almost killed, but Brennan channels Dane's power through Sloane to save her. Violet fights Theophany, who's a storm wielder like Violet's mother, and kills her with Dune's dagger that Ark foresaw with his signet of precognition. Meanwhile, Xaden confronts Berwyn in a canyon, saves Sigale, and defeats enemy Venin, then helps clear the city of Wyvern, but in the process completes becoming an Asim Venin. Violet awakens at Ryerson House with no memory of the fight. She discovers missing riders, dragons, and 6 dragon eggs. Brennan finds a Dune-sealed letter blessing her marriage to Xaden with a note from him claiming it's hers. Violet has been missing 12 hours, and Imogen confirms Violet asked her to erase her memories. Whew! Okay, plot recap over. Now it's time to grab our red string and corkboards.
Because this is Threads of Theory, where we spiral so you don't have to. Oh my goodness, you guys.
Yes.
Wild, wild ride. All right, let's go.
Let's start with the first question, or thread, if you will, that pops up in Onyx Storm right from the very beginning. Andarna thinks that she can melt Venin. Do we think she can melt Venin?
Taryn doesn't seem very
Convinced
that she can do that. Meanwhile, Andarna is very convinced that she can do that.
Also, I feel like when she meets the Irids, they are also not convinced that their kind can do that. Because they kind of dismiss her asking about it, and they're like, "Ugh, you're hopeless." But I will say there is some evidence pointing to that she can do it, just not always. So in the beginning of the book, she says magic feels different when I change color.
Yeah.
But when she burns a dark wielder later in the book and it doesn't work, she's not changing her scales.
Right.
Which is why I think it doesn't work. And then also when they're in Umbriel, when Violet wields lightning and she's able to use Andarna's magic in a different way, Andarna's scales are shifting color because of how angry she is.
Yeah. Which is such a cool part in the book because it seems like she's almost like flickering.
Yes. So I kind of think that part's important.
Yeah, I think so too. It feels like maybe there's a middle ground here where she can, but because her fire is so unique, but she just hasn't mastered it yet.
Yeah, exactly. Or figured out that it's really the scales, the changing of magic, that's what's doing it. Because I think it's that thing of Irids are magic, and they can change magic just like they can change the bonds.
Yeah.
So when she's shifting scales, she's changing the magic Venin are holding on to too, which is allowing her to kill them with her fire.
Yeah, I love
that. Yeah. And also the Irids didn't like to engage in fighting or battle or anything. So how would they really know that they can or can't?
They're peaceful. I don't think they tried to kill Venin ever.
Yeah.
Most likely.
It seems that way for sure.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they're searching for an answer the whole book that no one's discovered the answer to yet. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, love it. That's true.
Yeah. So we get a lovely little epigraph that I think is fun to discuss. The rarest of signets, those that rise once in a generation or century, have manifested concurrently with an equal twice in our records, both critical times in our history, but only once have the 6 most powerful walked the continent simultaneously. I think we theorized a little bit during Iron Flame what those 6 signets could be. But do we feel like we have a clearer picture now after rereading Onyx Storm? I mean, we know shadow wielding and lightning wielder for sure.
So So Violet, Xaden.
I think maybe Siphon could be one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about like the distance walkers?
I also think a distance walker could be one of them.
Yeah. I think maybe Mira.
Oh, ward weaving.
Oh, ward weaving. Yeah.
Maybe, but she wasn't one of the 6 most powerful when they did the wards in Orisha. And they also mentioned that there are a ton of ward weavers throughout the college.
Yeah.
So I also thought the same thing about Riddick, about how he's become such a powerful ice wielder, but I don't think that's considered a rare signet, even if he's really powerful.
Yeah, but I also think that like there's a hidden second signet there somewhere. I don't know.
For Riddick?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I mean,
he does seem very coy about it.
So we have Violet, we have Xaden, we have Garrick, we have Eric.
Also, when Ree manifests, she says, "Oh, I haven't read about a power like summoning in centuries."
Okay.
But also Imogen.
Yeah, I was about to say like Sloane or Imogen.
Precog might be one of them too.
I think that's it. I think it's Violet, Xaden, Eric, Garrick, and then there's 2 more. I mean, it could be Mira,
I think it's
could
Sloane.
be Riddick, could be Sloane, could
I
be
think it's
Imogen.
Sloane's the siphon.
I think it's Sloane and Imogen.
I think they would be the curveballs for sure.
Imogen's second signet, the earth wielding, whatever we're going to call it, I don't think anyone has ever seen that signet before, ever.
Yeah.
And that's insanely powerful that she can like turn a shield to stone. That was a crazy signet to be hiding.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Totally.
I love it if Imogen is one of the most powerful, to be honest.
We love that. Yeah.
I love Imogen.
Well, we would love those. So Rebecca, hopefully we're on point with that.
All right, so here's a big discussion point that is an argument in the series and beyond right now, and I think it's Rebecca Yarros fucking all of us a little bit too,
as she likes to do.
So in the very beginning of Onyx Storm, we see that venin are masquerading as scribes, and we also saw it before the Battle of Basgiath back in Iron Flame. Very briefly, Violet said she saw a scribe with their hood down and she didn't understand why they were in the quadrant.
Yeah.
And then we also know from the beginning of this book that Jack says that a room could be full of sages and mavens and you wouldn't even know it.
Unless you were one.
100%. So do we think that there are people at Basgiath who can hide that they're venin? It's a whole discussion. This line from Jack has caused the whole fandom to spiral because everyone's like, oh, anyone can be a venin now. But I don't think that's true. I do think it's Rebecca fucking with us a little bit, because if venin mavens, sages could hide the red veins distending from their eyes, why haven't they? When Theophany breaks into Basgiath to try and kill him or get him out, whatever she's trying to do in the beginning, why? She's just hiding as a scribe. She's not hiding her eyes and the red distended veins. So that tells me like Daddy Atos couldn't possibly be a venin hiding in plain sight because he would have red veins distending from his face. Yeah, or
yeah.
Varish.
But how many riders do you think are actually looking at the faces of the scribes underneath their garb?
But I feel like the scribes would see the other scribes.
Right. I think, yes, like the venin obviously have been sneaking in just maybe to do like a mission here or there, but I don't think there's like a main character that we're missing.
I don't think so either.
Who's like magically venin. Yeah. We get a quote later on from Drake in an epigraph that says, if possible, hunt the enemy during the day. Their markings are easily hidden at night by shadows, that it would not surprise me to find that they walk among us. But if you were a professor or general at Basgiath, you wouldn't just be seen at night. You'd be seen in plain sight of day. Yeah. Like, I don't think Melgren is like secretly a venin.
Yeah. Also, like if you're teaching a class and you've got the red ring around your eyes, people are going to notice.
Well, and that's just an initiate too. So an initiate can't hide what they are. And that just also tells me too, if Atos pulled from the source when he was younger and went through being an initiate and an ASIM, people would have noticed.
No, I think it's more realistic that there are just complicit humans than there are actually venin hiding.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that they're helping the venin because they want to be on the side of the venin without actually pulling from the source.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I do think this line is Rebecca just fucking with us a little bit. And when Jack says that,
red herring.
Yeah. Well, also when Jack says that, he's in a cell in a basement. I think he's talking about more the fact that Xaden and Jack can sense each other, like in the college somewhere in a bond sort of way, not like
Yeah.
physically being able to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think that what he's kind of saying is like the hall could be full of sages and we wouldn't notice
Yeah.
in terms of a sense, not in like
agree.
a
Yeah.
actually they've
Like
been taking over
venin are walking the halls. Yeah, I agree.
Even Jack, doesn't he differentiate the difference between like, I can't really sense them, but they can sense me?
Right, because
Right.
he's low level. There, it's so that the initiates can be found by a sage and raised or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
like such
Yeah,
a
yeah.
weird thing to
Groomed.
like, how does the magic
their
work that
leash.
way?
It's their
It's
leash.
super
It's
weird.
like, oh God, the kid got loose again. Yeah.
The
Which
magical tether.
Yeah, which leads us into why can venin feel each other's presence and why does the magic work that way? It's really a weird note. It almost feels like the magic's on their side, like helping them, which feels
Yeah.
wrong. You know what I mean?
Does feel wrong. Like a hive mind. Like how can they have a hive mind, but the good guys don't.
Yeah, it's like weird that the magic almost is like working with them to protect them in a way.
It feels like I think it's because they're all connected to the same source, right?
Maybe, yeah.
So yeah,
like,
maybe
as
it is
opposed
like
to
a
being-
hive mind.
As opposed to being pulling from the dragon, since they all pull from the earth, they're connected the way they're connected. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because I feel like it's an earthly vibration, like a beacon, right? Like, so they're all connected to the same thing instead of their individualized, like not collective magic from
love
dragons.
that.
Yeah,
That's a really good point. I like it a lot.
Like the way that the dragon's mind speak to the humans. It's like the earth is mind speaking
Earth.
to them.
Now we're talking about Earth too, which makes sense as to why
planet,
no one's been able
it's
to
not Earth,
right, but also no to what we were saying about that no one has ever been able to control the Earth before. Like maybe there's some like everything in balance happening here with this. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think that's why the venin have a hive mind, because they're all pulling from the same source.
Yeah.
So it's like them communicating with their dragon. They can all communicate
with each other. Yeah.
I love that.
I also have a wonder. So if we're talking about them not having walked the earth at the same time, blah, 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 that whole thing. So if there was a seventh dragon that they were trying to conceal, do we think that also means there was a seventh rider that was bonded to that dragon?
So that is something in the fandom that people definitely are speculating, if there was a seventh rider, because seventh breed, obviously. I don't think so personally, because of the interactions we get with the Irids. When they are speaking to Andarna, she has to explain to them what the bond with her rider is like. She says, you undervalue our connection. They kind of like push Violet aside. And I kind of feel like if they had ever bonded with a rider before, they would know more about what the human bond is like. And they don't seem to really know much about it. I also just think they're the peaceful dragons. They don't believe in any of that. They kind of say, we thought humans would flourish under the wards, which makes me think they just agreed to give their fire for them. It just doesn't seem to me like they had a rider or anything.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. It also kind of seems like they are very haughty and kind of think they're better than anything and everybody else. So they're just like, I will not bond, but you can have my flame.
Like kind of what Leothin does at the end. I think that's probably what happened the first time, is they were like, oh, well, all humans are gonna die. I guess we could help with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe we're wrong. Maybe there is a seventh rider, but maybe the seventh rider is the leader of the venin that we know nothing about.
I mean,
which is why the Irids won't help or something, because they've been burned by their rider or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, that'd be a really fun twist.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Be a really fun twist.
Yeah. So who do we think Violet's second liaison is after Xaden? And do we think that we will meet him?
I certainly hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah, it has to be someone that she dated after Xaden, based on the text, is what it sounds like. Because Violet says that her dad met Xaden, but he never met whoever the other person was.
Yeah.
And we know Violet has a type, apparently, a prince and a duke. So I'm like, who's number 3?
Well, at one point Xaden was like, was it someone in infantry? And she was like, oh, he has no idea how
On the nose,
that
yeah.
is.
Halden
Which
was in
Halden
infantry.
is, so it's like-
Yes, technically, Halden was in an infantry, but were both of them? I don't know. And like, who would she date after Halden? It could just be like, honestly, Rebecca Yarros being like, obviously, Violet's dated more than one person before
Yeah.
Xaden.
Yeah.
Could it have been Eric? Is this like a loose canon idea?
I don't think so. That would
Yeah,
be so
I
weird.
mean, it would be so weird, but I would kind of love it.
There would also be like, I feel like more awkward tension between them or something.
I mean, maybe, but maybe they just were like a casual, whatever.
We don't know anyone else who's in that world, like grew up with her, who was in the aristocracy or whatever, besides Dane and Holden and Alec and Cam. And obviously it wasn't Alec. He was dead. He was killed when she was dating Holden. Yeah. So I don't know who else it could be. I think it's just one of those things that I feel like we will never find out because it's also kind of silly to put in like two jealous boyfriend storylines.
It's just like there is someone else. And yeah, he is in infantry.
Yeah. It's just kind of fun to contemplate over and be like, who? I wonder if we'll ever meet this person. I mean, I'm sure also, and we know Xaden also has a ton of like girls he's been with too. And I don't think we'll ever learn about them.
Yeah, no, he's left a trail.
He's definitely left a trail. Yeah. Like when he was like, oh, Kat's not my first by a long shot. I was like, oh God, Xaden, shut your mouth.
No, I mean,
stop talking.
Not the time to gloat, sir.
Stop talking. Like it's Xaden, stop talking.
Oh my God.
You're making it worse, bro.
In my dreams, it's Eric. But let's talk more about Eric. Do we think, when did his signet manifest?
Yeah, so Rebecca Yarros has said in an interview that it was before they left for Quest Squad, which is really interesting.
Which makes sense to me in a way because it's kind of like he foresaw Violet's importance super early, which is why he aligns with her and like tolerates Halden.
Yeah. Well, and even he was like, Halden fucked it up, didn't he?
Yeah.
And she was like, yep. And he was like, how? She was like, Halden being Halden.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to figure out if what he's seeing, because I'm sure his precognition signet has to be very confusing to him when it's developing. Sure. And I almost feel like that moment is more of him being like, did what I see really happen? I'm trying to ascertain that information.
Yeah.
And she's just like, whatever. It was just Halden being Halden.
Yeah.
And then very early on in chapter 6, he says that line, that Violet would be a great politician or a general, maybe, definitely nobility. And Xaden's like, oh, definitely a duchess. And I think that is definitely
oh my God, it's so coy.
I think that's Arik being like, I see that future, but like in a playful way.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, because we all know at the end that she is the Duchess of Tyrador. So, yeah, I think it's pretty early on.
Let's get Daddy Atos out. Violet in.
Like, let Violet run the war college. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, she's definitely about to be running Tyrandor, so.
She is.
Yeah, I think it's actually really, really early on at the very beginning of the book. That does bring in, did it develop in Iron Flame? I don't think so, personally. We just did the coverage on Iron Flame, and there was nothing in there that really felt like, oh, this is a sign of Arik's signet. Because even at the very end of the book, he very clearly tells Lilith, like, I don't have a signet yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was an Iron Flame, but I do think it's very early on an Onyx Storm. I do think it happens in pieces, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he knows his signet is happening.
Similar to Violet in that way.
Oh, but like with the dream walking, like she doesn't know what she's seeing is her signet 100%. I think that's definitely what it is.
Which also, by the way, like I just have to say that was one of my greatest accomplishments was guessing that.
You are the only person I have ever talked to who guessed what Violet's second signet was.
The fact that you were like, how in the world? And I was like, oh my God, such a proud moment. Like,
you got this.
Well, so as we were speaking about the ward stone, at the very beginning when they were taking the protections off, what do we think that they took off when they were manipulating it?
I know. This is one of those lines that Riddick says where he's like, I wonder what protection we just accidentally took off. And you're kind of like, also would like to know.
Yeah.
And I do think it could be something because later on when they're in their classes with Xaden, we see that I think it's a second year cadet channel from the source in front of everyone when she's sparring. And I don't think she should be able to do that.
I don't know.
Like, granted, we know that they can turn under the wards, but like it felt a little like, I don't know if she should be able to do that. I don't
Yeah, and
know.
why? And yeah. I mean, maybe it's just the original failsafe, like binding the venin outside of Navarre, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mira definitely says she's like the walking ward. She's like, the wards are still in place, blah, blah. Like, they
Yeah.
test things with Jack. He can't do greater magics, or he can only do like little lesser magics or something. But I feel like it's one of those lines that's definitely going to come back in book 4 or 5, where we're going to be like, well, there it is.
That's
Well,
right.
and to your point too, it does look like he was trying to pull, because Violet says that all of the stones are like an ashen gray in his cell. So it seems like he was trying to pull.
And he's like left out
Yeah.
of, he's
Which is
out
interesting.
of magic.
I don't know. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things, because we haven't really seen anyone turn under the wards, or really what the venin's power is under the wards, the limitations are. So it's hard to say if they've always been able to do that or not.
Right.
Yeah. But also, how was Jack able to turn? Because technically that should have been under the wards as well.
It was. Yeah. And we do find out later that he's like, you thought we couldn't turn under the wards, but we can.
Tricky.
So, it is tricky.
Interesting.
Yep. Well, we know after they manipulate the ward stone, who comes charging into class, yelling accusations of treason, but Daddy Atos. And let's just take a moment to talk about why in the world they gave command of Bezgaeth to Daddy Atos. Well, I think it's one of those funny Rebecca Yarros is like chuckling to herself things, where she's like, King Tari is King Tari the wise, but he's like not wise.
Exactly. That's opposite day. It's opposite day.
He's an idiot. Yeah. And we know, based on when we've seen him at parties and things, like Atos is always buddying up to him.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, he knew who was going to give command of Basgai. Like, it's King Tari's decision. It's so silly that he did that. I love that even when they go to Samara de Grency's, like, they gave command of Basgai to Atos.
So dumb.
But it doesn't even like seem like the scenario likes Atos either. They're just like, get out of our room, please. Like, you have no authority here.
Yeah.
Everyone seems annoyed by him, which makes me feel
but and also not to bring in real life, but think about how other countries feel about our
that's very true
right now. So you never know. You never know.
Yes. But I also just think it's another clue showing us that Daddy Atos is probably working with the venin, because he is that power hungry. Great. He wants more than he's given, and everyone around him definitely speaks down to him, I think, except for King Tari. And I just feel like
that's a good point.
That type of person, you know.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So moving on to our first tiff with Theophany, she says that she wants Andarna, and she taunts Violet, saying, you don't even know what you have, and even as the one to tell them that Andarna's an Irid. But what is the real reason we think Theophany wants Andarna? Obviously, there's the blanket reason of everyone thinks it's just because Irids are magic and, venin want magic. Mm-hmm. But I kind of feel like it's more than that.
I do too. I definitely feel like it's more than that. I feel like either her heritage reveals truths about the gods that threaten the venin power, or it could be as simple as she just wants to weaponize the fire for herself. But also some part of me thinks that she knows that Andarna's kind is like linked to some sort of cure for veninism, or some sort of the balance of what is missing. Yeah, the balance.
I almost wonder, because Andarna's kind could affect venin magic, I wonder if venin can bond to Irids.
I would hate that.
But I wonder if that's why they want her. Because if Andarna can change magic in that way, why wouldn't feasibly a venin be able to bond to her and then be even more powerful?
It's interesting, because that goes back to the 7th rider and dragon, because it could have been a venin rider and an Irid, and Irids were like, fuck this, y'all are evil, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's what made them be like, no, I don't agree. Like, I don't agree. We can't fix this. We tap out.
Yep.
It makes sense.
I have had the thought that maybe the Irids can almost do virtually any signet.
Oh, wait.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Like, you know how Andarna is color changing, right? How
Right.
she suddenly had like the hottest
Oh,
fire
I
of all
see.
time. I wonder if somehow the Irids can produce siphoning powers and they can transfer several different types of signets to their riders.
Oh, you think that they can give them multiple signets? Oh, I don't know.
Or like given the situation, they can almost like switch over into that and they're like, this is
I
what you
don't
need.
think they could switch them because, as we know, signets are more about the rider than the dragon. It's about like the unique relationship. So, like,
But them being the conduit to the power.
yeah, I don't know. That feels also almost like too powerful. Then you're like, as a writer, playing with fire a little bit. And I think Rebecca Yarros has even said this before. You don't want any one character to be too powerful. She said that, I think, when people were like, oh,
Yeah.
Xaden or Violet's gonna have a third signet, and she was kind of like, no, we're playing with fire here. You can't have your character be all powerful because then there's not going to be any problems. There's going to be no tension in the books if your character is all powerful and can just solve things like that. So I feel like that would be a really hard storyline to go through, because then the Eards would be so powerful that it would be like, okay, well, let's just wrap up this war in 5 minutes. If I can give my writer whatever signet they want and change it and all that stuff, I think that's too much, you know?
Yeah. Alternatively, there is the option that the Irids are the solution to the venin problem and can like siphon the veninism out of them or something like that. So basically, Theophany needs them out of the picture.
I mean, I mean,
or she doesn't, or Theophany doesn't wants to be cured too. Maybe she's over it.
I don't. She does not want to be cured.
Do you imagine if she was like, actually, yeah, I'm good now.
So you guys, secret plan over here. Pretend they are joining me. But what we're actually going to do.
What if, I mean, look, we know that Navarre's like propaganda conveniently erases anything that doesn't fit the narrative, right? So what if like the seventh rider betrayed their dragon in some way, and by channeling from the source, they became venin, and then the entire rider society, to suppress it, changed the narrative, and the Irids are the ones that remember because they were the ones that were betrayed somehow. Therefore they're like, no.
That seems valid.
I don't know. I mean, it could be as simple as that, because it's a setup from the very beginning that like they control their narrative and it's all propaganda. Fake news. Right?
So there's that line in the Fable of the Barons in the first book that, you know, that it demonizes dragons. So, and we've always been contemplating, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? But maybe it is this big dragon cover up of like the Irids hiding that they're the cause of the venin, essentially, by letting their dragon turn or something.
I mean, I think it's more like they abandoned their rider. You know what I mean? They're like, to save themselves. It's like after betrayal or like schism or whatever, they like separated themselves from their bond.
They set a boundary.
They set a boundary and they kept it. You know what they don't have?
Daddy issues. Ashley. Therapizing.
They don't have daddy issues.
Yeah.
They have dragon issues, but they don't have daddy issues.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I feel like Andarna is the balance, right? We just have yet to find,
or the Irids in general. Yeah.
Yeah. But there is something special about Andarna.
Oh, definitely.
Right. So
see, the thing is, like, I think that's why they're like, there is no cure, all these things. There's no way to defeat the venin, is because in the last war, the Irids didn't fight because they're a peaceful dragon. They wouldn't have been able to figure out those answers. And now we have Andarna, a fighting Irid, who's going to use her powers in this new way to either cure or defeat the venin.
And also, she has now been scorned.
Yes.
Yeah. But I feel like, what if they're tasked with protecting the gods rather? What if they're closer to that than anything else? Like, what if they're temple keepers? You know what I mean? They're not like free dragons. Maybe their narrative is that they want to stay away from that, but what they're really doing is like protecting something bigger. And so why they have so much animosity towards Andarna, because they're not free like she is. you know, they have a more divine responsibility. And so they're kind of like not supporting her because they're like, what are you doing? You're protecting these people. We have a higher purpose and a higher power. We stay out of this shit.
But they didn't used to. They used to live on the continent. So
right. So something happened.
happened.
But that is an interesting parallel because don't the Irids come and help save Dune's temple?
They do.
And
That's when he
Dune is
arrives.
the god of war, and the Irids should be technically polar opposites, but also same side of the same coin, or different sides of the same coin.
Balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. But maybe, yeah.
So we get a line in an epigraph here that says, you might be angry when you realize I didn't wake you to say goodbye, but it's only because I no longer fully trust my ability to walk away. And a lot of the fans are like, well, what if this epigraph here didn't happen in this timeline? What if this was part of the note that Xaden left for her at the end of the book? Because it doesn't obviously say when she received this letter. But I'm just going to say, I think it is within this timeline because in the description of the letter, it says that it is from His Grace, the Duke of Tyrrendor, to Cadet Violet Sorrengail. And if it was at the end, that's not what it would say.
I agree.
Right.
I agree with you.
It would say something like Xaden was no longer the Duke and that she
Yeah.
was the Duchess of Tyrrendor.
Yeah, like they were fully bonded as equals at that point in time. Yeah, I agree.
So I do think timeline-wise, this is in there, and it's just showing us that he is losing control and is like more obsessed with her than ever.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I agree.
Which leads me into, do we feel like there's a lot of mate foreshadowing in this book?
I
Back to our
do.
theory from Iron Flame. And I do.
Yes.
I think so many fans are going to be so mad if they're mates, but I see
know.
so much mate foreshadowing now that we've started talking about it.
Absolutely.
I agree. I don't know that I would have thought about it had we not have focused so much on it in our other deep dives, but definitely in this book, I agree 100%.
Oh my God,
there are
of
so many
course.
quotes I've pulled. Like he says, it was hotter than rage, sharper than fear, and cut deeper than helplessness, all because
Come
I couldn't
on.
get to you.
Yep.
Come on.
But we know Taryn also calls Xaden her mate twice in
Yes.
this book.
Yeah. Taryn knows it.
And she even says humans don't have mates. And he's like, well, you're the inferior species then. But to me, that's like major foreshadowing for her saying that humans don't have mates is like a red neon flag saying, this human might. Like, and
this one will be the opposite.
The biggest thing to me is that we hear time and again throughout Onyx Storm how venin don't have feelings, how they can't feel love anymore. Jack says they're not burdened by conscience or weakened by emotional attachment. But we see the complete opposite with Xaden as he's turning.
Yeah.
Like he almost becomes more obsessed with Violet because he's pulling more magic from the source, I think, and it's making their mate bond stronger.
I think it heightens it, yeah.
Yes. Or is it foreshadowing then that his love for Violet is one of his heightened senses that we know venin can get?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they say venin can have, heightened sense of smell, eyesight, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Is his love for Violet just one of those heightened senses for him?
But is love a sense? Is love a sense? You know what I mean?
Exactly,
like,
but love's
it's not
really
one that they're supposed to have.
Yeah.
But if he has a mate bond, it would be.
Yeah.
Potentially. Exactly. And he even says, even when I'm not entirely me, whatever I am still craves you, needs you, and only wants you. Like that is just like such major mate obsession foreshadowing all those things to me, because he's not supposed to be feeling those things. Even Theophanie's like, oh, would venin do that stuff? It's an act.
Yeah.
And Violet's like,
is it?
No, I've seen that. It's not.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
I know. And I've seen the arguments on Reddit and stuff that so many fans are like, this series doesn't need to have a mate bond. It's not about Faye. It's not ACOTAR. Like, whatever.
I think all romantasy needs a mate bond.
But to me, it's like, as long as she does it in what feels like the way she's doing it, where it's like special because the magic has changed them and it isn't something that actually happens in this world, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I mean, dragons don't happen in the world either. So like, I'm like, you guys, it's fantasy still.
Yeah. It's romance also. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it also feels like one of the keys to saving his soul.
Yes.
You know what I
Agreed.
mean?
Love saves
Yeah.
the day.
10 out of
Love
10.
saves the day.
Love saves the day. Yes. Also, talking about their heightened senses, we learn a lot about venin in this book, that they wield signets. They assume that sages and mavens wield signets because of how many times they've pulled from the source, and they develop this ability. But
Right.
do we think that's true, or do we think that the sages and mavens and maybe even ASIMs who have signets, is it because they're former writers and already had a signet?
Kind of think yes.
I think it could be both, because
I think
Xaden,
it's
Yeah,
yes
I think-
and
Xaden's
no.
obviously an initiate, and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
has a
both
signet.
things can be
Yeah.
true.
I
Yeah.
think they were riders first before their corruption or whatever. They didn't lose their signets. I think maybe it just becomes a little different or a little more twisted. And I think that the corruption that they have could also possibly override the signets. So like what looks like a signet is actually source magic. I think it could be either. I don't know. Or
And
both.
as we know, like a lot of Griffin flyers or people who want to be Griffin flyers become venin. And even though they don't wield technically signets, we see a lot in Iron Flame, Violet being like, well, they kind of do. We've been taught that they don't, but they have a lot of similar ones to us.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just seem to be
Propaganda.
more of the mind work signets that the writers can develop versus like
Mhm.
lightning and ice wielding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the type of magic dragons channel versus griffins.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
Obviously, they can go into people's dreams because they were dream projecting into both Violet and Xaden.
well, I think that's only Berwyn's ability, though. So that,
But
yeah.
again, a writer,
Well,
pretty
we
confident.
we don't know if he was a writer or not.
I think
Hmm.
Yeah.
that's my bet, but
Okay.
we don't know for certain.
Okay,
We
put money on
don't.
it.
Let's
We
put a
really
pin in
do
that
need-
because we're definitely going to come
Yeah.
back to it.
We definitely
what-
do need to make a bingo card.
We do.
We need to make a bingo card. Let's talk about Grady.
Oh my God, yes. What a nincompoop.
Yeah.
Nincompoop.
Did he is this what's the thing here? Did he purposely choose like a bad squad?
I don't know. Is he just this bad at his job?
Like what's happening?
I
Like,
kind of
even-
think he might be just that bad at his
I
job.
think he is too,
Like-
unfortunately.
Just like incompetent. Just like a random
Not even like
incompetence.
incompetent. I think he is part of the Bezgaev cogs,
Yeah.
where it's like he only does what he's told. He's that
Yeah.
very run of the mill. You couldn't even pick him out of a crowd type of
Mhm.
writer who,
Mhm.
and that's the type of other writers he chooses. He has no creative thinking skills.
No. And
None.
it's like the people that he's putting together don't even make sense. And then other people get involved and they're like, Mira should be on this squad. Why isn't she on this squad? Like,
Well, it's like one of those things where he's not a critical thinker. He's like, I asked the Southern Wing leader for her. And Xaden's like, well, actually, because of the Second Erasia Accord, I'm actually the leader of Tyrandor's armies now. So you should have asked me. But no, try that. It's like no critical thinking skills.
None.
None.
it's a little hollow in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he dies. So I don't think it was anything more nefarious than that. I think it was just him.
Right,
being
because he's gone
an
now. So
idiot.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was just that Rebecca Yarros trying to show us that even though Navarre is technically on the right side of the war now, they're still being Navarre.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
And-
I think a lot of this book is that.
Yeah.
Like they're still trying to play the same game, even though the entire game has changed.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Which, speaking of Grady and his really terrible ideas,
Mhm.
do we think we will ever go north to the Emerald Sea like he wanted to?
Yes. I think we will.
I think we could, and maybe that's
I
when
think we
the
could.
underwater breathing comes into play that we learned.
From like
sea
2 bucks ago.
Yeah.
Sea travel, unexplored territory, like yeah.
Because it's also weird that the
absolutely.
Hedotus are like aquaphobic or whatever, that they
Mhm.
won't, they're like, why would we go on a
Do you
boat
think
when
there's
we
a
don't know
sea
what's underneath
dragon?
the water?
What if there's
What
a
if
sea
there's a sea
dragon?
dragon that we know nothing
I
about?
know. What if there's a sea dragon?
In 8th breed.
Yeah, and what if
That would
they
be wild.
channel the water versus the earth? Like what the fuck? I don't know.
Oh
it could
my
be
God.
anything. Let's go.
I mean, there could be, so I think it's in the first book when Violet is, when she's looking for Wyvern in the library and she notices that there are none in the archives, books about
Yeah.
Wyvern. She mentions that there are books about Kraken.
Yeah.
That's right.
So maybe there's
other
a
mythical
Kraken.
creatures.
There's
Yeah.
a Kraken.
Yeah.
Totally.
Maybe there's
totally.
a
And
Kraken.
mermaids. Can we bring mermaids into this?
Oh my god.
Some sirens.
Some sirens. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Okay, let's
I
talk more
almost feel
about
like if that
Sloane,
happens,
okay?
that's like an 8-book series. We're
Yeah,
not
absolutely,
going,
which I would
we're not
love,
doing
but
it.
hey,
I
here we
mean,
are. Okay, let's go back. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Sloane's
Yeah.
potential second signet.
Does she
Mhm.
have one? Right.
Does she have one?
I think she will.
I think she will also.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna sort of mirror Violet's progression and get a second. I also think that her rage for her sister could fuel something in her.
For her brother.
Yep.
For Liam. We got
her
you.
sister.
I'm with you.
For her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that most of the marked ones have second signets.
Mhm.
And it just tracks for me with how big of a character she's becoming. And it'd be really cool to see her using her siphoning powers in combination with something else.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think Sloane definitely will.
Yeah.
Girl need
I
to
think
start
she's-
training, though.
I think she's a wild card, so I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Do we think Violet will ever use her skill to track Xaden's shadows?
I think so.
I mean, he's kind of training her how to do it,
Exactly.
which makes
for
me
a
feel like,
reason.
yes,
Yeah, I think so too.
she will
Yeah.
need it.
She'll definitely need it. And I definitely think we'll see her do this in the next book. I don't think it's going to be to kill him.
No.
Like he wants it to be.
Right.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be
No.
to save the day.
I think
Yep.
we all know that it was clearly Violet's decision to remove her memories of what happened. She's not going to listen to herself. And
course
she's
not.
absolutely going to track him down using his shadows.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. I think we will absolutely see that. So we talked a lot last book about if leadership was poisoning Asher. There's that theory out there in the universe. And we as a group kind of decided that he probably died of natural causes, aka guilt over the death of his son.
Yeah.
And
secrets weigh on you.
yes. And we get a quote here, I think confirms the side of the theory we're on. He says, "I fear my death will fail you." He knew he was dying. He knew he was having heart problems. Once again, like we said before, I'd find it very hard to believe he wouldn't know that he was being poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like he knew he was dying. I don't think it was anything more than that.
Yeah, me either.
I think it was absolutely the guilt. And
Yeah.
Guilt and shame will kill you guys.
let's just discuss the Halden of it all and how
The Halden of
juicy
it all.
and amazing this ex-boyfriend is. I think Rebecca Yarros did all of us a favor in putting the perfect, terrible ex-boyfriend in here. I think we've all had this ex-boyfriend, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's just
It adds-
awful, who we
yeah,
all
it
look
adds
at and we're
levity
just like,
too.
why did I date you?
Mhm.
And then she did us the biggest favor of all and then made him a little basket bitch.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It's so
It's
good.
Amazing. A basket.
They're even like, he can't show up in a basket like a delivery. Oh my God.
Obsessed.
I love it so much. And that's that on him.
Speaking of Halden being carried in a basket like a little bitch, when they get to Corden, Violet has said this so many times throughout the series that she doesn't understand why the venin have not taken Corden. And she says it again here. She says, "White marble floors shimmer, reflecting the dawn, just like the winding pools that flow through the space beyond the wide central staircase. The palace won't stand a chance should the venin venture this far south." And she said it so many times at this point, it's starting to be a little like, what is Rebecca Yarros trying to tell us here
Yeah.
right now? And I'm starting to get suspicious. I'm getting sus.
Yeah.
And does that mean whoever built it also knew that? Probably. Which makes me think there has to be a real reason why the venin haven't attacked it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Is it because of what the building is made out of here? Because we know
Right.
that Theophany cannot enter a temple now that she is, venin. And
Mhm.
the description of the white marble and all that, it does kind of sound like a temple a
Mhm.
little bit. So I'm almost wondering if the venin can't go there, or
I
some
mean,
of the venin. I don't know.
It's definitely the underscoring of this is that it's obviously secretly warded with something stronger, or
Right, it has to
it's like
be.
a divine stone, like something the gods themselves protect it. Like there is something that is keeping them from A, wanting to go in, and two, being able to go in. Like, do they even want to go into that? Like, are they afraid of something, or are they being repelled by something?
Right.
I think it could be either. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been said too many times now for it to not mean something more, because
Yeah,
it is
I agree with you.
confusing of
I agree with you.
why they haven't attacked Corden, especially once all the flyers kind of went there
Absolutely.
after
Mm-hmm.
Zoila fell.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's kind of like, and now Takaris is second in line, as we know, and don't really care as much about secession, but it just feels too specific that they haven't.
The theory of it being like a temple vibe is very interesting
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
with all the
because like
white marble and
yeah, the white
stuff.
in the pools, like if you go to a temple, there's usually like, white pillars
Water.
and water.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
So it's like,
We have all the
oh,
elements. Everything's in balance.
It's
mm-hmm.
Zen.
Yeah, now this description, it's like we knew what Corden looked like. And once again, she's still describing it with the white marble floors and all of that. And it's like, oh, maybe this description is really important, actually.
Yeah. And she does revisit it quite a lot.
Quite a lot. And it's just kind of like, okay, is Corden, like a lot of people think it's just foreshadowing that obviously Corden's going to fall soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more than that.
I think it's more than that,
it
too.
was foreshadowing that Corden was going to fall, it would have fallen already. Like
Yeah.
we've been getting that foreshadowing since like book 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. Okay, so this is kind of one that feels a lot of plot holey to me. So they leave Corden, they fly towards Deverelli, and as they're flying, their bonds sever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? None of them have access to their dragons or their magic. And yes, the dragons are in pain, but we know they're on the islands for like weeks. And on the continent, they say that they can only go 3 to 4 days with being away from their dragon. Feels a little bit like a plot hole to me.
Like from Taryn and
Yeah, like she says, like
Sigale.
I can only be separated from Andarna for 3 to 4 days when they're going on their mission to Anka, but then they're on the islands for weeks without their bonds, and it feels a little plot holy to me. Like
Yeah,
I know the dragons are in pain, but it's like, so I don't see how those two things equal to like being the same world.
I wonder if, just to be devil's advocate and say it's not a plot hole, which I think it is a little bit of a plot hole. What if the islands are outside of like the source influence? So
Right,
like
magic.
the bonds, but like, so like the bonds just fade differently. Like the closer you are, the stronger it is, and the farther away you get, it gets less, you know what I mean?
Right, like because there's no magic on the islands, their bonds aren't affected the same way versus
the same way
they're apart from their dragons on the continent where there's magic. I mean, that's the only, honestly, explanation I can think of that makes sense. But it does feel a little bit like, you haven't had your bonds for like 2 weeks. Shouldn't you guys all be like dying?
But now, does that mean that Taryn and Andarna are not in as much pain because Violet does still have their bond?
I think so.
I think so too.
Because it seems like Sigale is really not feeling good. Like,
It's interesting. That's for sure.
All right. Crazy.
So now that we're in Deverelli, let's just discuss Xaden being happy. Oh my gosh. This part of the book is just gut-wrenching, where he is acting like he's the freest he has ever been.
Ever.
And it is actually one of my favorite parts of the book. It's one of my roses for later.
Yeah,
where they're all
same.
riding the horses, and they're all just like joking around kind of, and Dane is like, who are you? Did you just ask me a personal question?
He's like, is that the same person?
Yeah.
What did you give him?
Who is this guy? And it's great comic relief, obviously, in the middle of the book when things are so dark, but it's also like a little sad too that they're all just like, are we witnessing who Xaden could have been if the whole rebellion and revolution wasn't on his shoulders? Like, it's so sad.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
Poor baby.
I know.
You just want to give him a hug. This also makes me think, is this where Xaden goes after he becomes an ASIM at the end of the book?
I mean, I
Ooh.
feel like this is a foreshadowing of like a safe haven or like an end game, honestly,
Yeah,
for him
I
and
think he
Violet.
definitely heads to the islands
Yeah.
after. Like Berwin, we know is unconscious at the end of the
Mhm.
book. I think he tries to escape magic to get as far away from
Yeah.
Berwin as possible.
I agree.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he is in Deverelli.
Why doesn't Deverelli worship the gods?
This is a great question because it doesn't seem like in our world where it's like we don't know if God is like real, like everyone has their different
Yeah.
opinion on God, etc.
Yeah.
This whole world seems to have the same opinions on the gods, and they definitely seem to be somewhat real, like almost
Mhm.
corporeal.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
but it is interesting that Deverelli does not believe in them. And what does that say about their island? And does the gods don't seem to like smite them in any way though,
No.
which is interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like they're the, center for science, blah 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 blah, and trade. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like they also means that like as we've seen, every other island has like a god or goddess that they almost like represent. Like
Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
Deverly doesn't have this either.
No, it has science.
It has science, but maybe that's just
Yeah.
Rebecca
Science and
Yarros
logic.
being
Yeah, being
like,
like,
there's always
yeah,
this group of people who don't believe in that divine entity, and this
correct.
is
Yeah.
that place.
I that makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. I'm interested to see like if we get more of the gods. Like, do
Yeah.
they dislike Deverelli? Like,
I mean,
Right.
it could also be that the gods know that this is also an important piece of it all. Like, yeah, there has to be other people who explore other things, so that
that's
knowledge is
true.
also power, right?
Yeah, that's true. So when they're in Deverelli, Violet says that her dad stopped trusting Colonel Atos at some point, and she says this to Dane, and she like immediately regrets it.
Mhm.
Do we think that it's because he knew Atos was starting to work with the venin or was turning venin? I think it's more that he was working with the venin, that he's not actually venin, and that he was losing pieces of his soul, or just like what tipped him off.
Maybe he was too interested in his research.
Yeah, I mean, I
And he's
definitely
like,
think
what do you
something
want?
happened where because they seem to be all very actually close for a long time,
Yeah.
and that he was definitely telling him about his research and then stopped.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if this is the moment when Atos was like, they're never going to promote me above Lilith. I need to grab power in a different way, and start acting super sus and sketchy.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I know.
Why do we think Violet's dad was so adamant that only Violet could collect the books?
This is a weird thing to me. And Mira obviously gets very upset.
She's very upset.
Very.
Like, even when Violet tries to open up to her about it, she's like, he only left them for you, so I guess that's just on you, and like walks away. And I'm like, oh God.
I honestly feel like it was a mistake that her dad did this.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, her dad is not quite as good at seeing the character of his children as Lilith was.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, I mean, he
Despite
also,
being the softer parent.
yes, like, I mean, he thought she was going to end up with Dane too. That whole, oh God, that whole
Ugh,
scene is
that
so
whole
funny.
scene.
Like Norel's shop.
So
Like,
funny.
ah.
And Mira's just like, I need a moment. I'm dying. I'm laughing so hard right now. Yeah, I do think it's just one of those mistakes he made. They talk a lot about what is Mira's legacy, because while Violet's dad was raising her, Lilith was raising Mira. What type of person are you? It's like, and Mira
Yeah.
does say a few times, like throughout the books, that she does have more of that Lilith sensibility where she's like, we don't sacrifice our loved ones for the greater good or whatever.
Though in the books, he does say you can only trust your sister.
He does say that, and a lot of people think that that is evidence that Brennan is somehow like evil in some way. But
He thought he was dead.
he says that because he thought he was dead. It's not because Brennan is evil.
Yeah.
100%. Like, guys, come on, that's spiraling way too far.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Yeah. And I just think that this was Violet's father being a little short-sighted and not realizing that if Violet was only trusting Mira, they were working on this together, that would hurt Mira in such a deep way for her to hear that too. Like, I don't think he was thinking about that at all, of like raising one daughter above the other kind of thing.
Well, I think in all earnest, I do think he probably was just like, this is all scribe knowledge. Violet understands this type of ethic ethical dilemma
He also thought
as well
Violet
as
was going to
being
be a
able to
scribe.
like figure it out,
Yeah.
you
He
know?
also thought Mira was going to be the writer and Violet was going to
Yes.
be the scribe, and that they would meet
Yeah.
each other in that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I really do think it was not meant to be malicious or like putting
I
one
don't
kid
think so
above the other.
either.
I think it was just like, this is
I
the
think it's-
logical
yeah.
person to figure out the
agree.
locks.
Yes,
I
and
agree.
Dad just being like kind of a dum-dum when it comes to like feelings.
Also, just the fact that Dane was written in it at all is wild to me.
Yes. So funny. I love that whole scene.
Xaden was like, I was having a good day.
Yeah. And then he's like, I want to bring up that point too of he's like, everyone's going to know it's going to be my last name on her flight jacket or whatever.
Yeah.
And Violet thinks that was one time. But that is so not what he means. He definitely means like she's going to have my last name because I'm marrying that bitch. Like,
Yes.
yes. And Violet's like, that was one time. I can't believe he's bringing that up. And it's like, girl, read between the lines.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about the future.
Yeah, I'm talking about like you're going to be the Duchess of Tyrrendor, baby. Speaking of Tyrrendor, let's talk about Fen Ryerson a little bit.
Yeah.
So we get an epigraph that says the most useless word in the language of aristocracy has always been and will forever be love. Marriage is a necessary evil to secure the line, nothing more. Save the love for your children. And it says it's to an unknown recipient. Do we think Fen was ever in love? We know he didn't love Talia.
Mm-mm. It was contract.
It was a contract, absolutely. And, you know, she even says that, you know, Fen would never risk Eurasia for her. And that proves that Xaden really loves Violet. I mean, duh.
Mhm.
But do we think Fen was ever in love with someone? There's a theory out there that Fen was gay and that he was in love. Him and Llewellyn were in a relationship, which is why Llewellyn raises Xaden after he dies. I know.
Well, okay.
I know. It's kind of a crazy theory.
I'm like buffering in real time. I'm just like,
Okay.
But I like don't hate the theory.
I mean, not no, but like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but also, and that's why Llewellyn later on like has that whole conversation with Violet about how it's really hard to love people in power because you guys never come first and all that stuff. And it's almost like he's speaking from experience. But that being said, Llewellyn is also someone who's in power. So like it could just be from that, but also does it seem like Llewellyn has his own children? Because Xaden has always been his child a little bit.
Look, all I know is that I think that he was in love before, and that therefore that this quote is just like buried in cynicism. And I think in order to say this so passionately, you actually have to have been burnt before or felt.
ooh, yeah.
Which kind of like
So-
aligns with this theory, though, of like he wasn't allowed to be with Llewellyn because they could never have produced heirs together.
Right.
Mhm.
Even though we know this world is very kind to gay people. If you're
Not in power.
yes, if you're still someone in power, you have to have an heir and you have to, you know, have a child. And so maybe like this is where that bitterness comes from of like, I had to marry this woman I didn't love because I could never marry the person I really love because we could never have heirs.
Mhm.
Honestly, okay. I mean, sure. I
don't not buy it, even though there's like no foreshadowing for it or anything.
None.
None.
But I don't not buy it. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it. Like
I like it.
It's a little bit like I'll take that as canon.
Yeah.
even if we don't get the answer ever.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my favorite part of that line, though, is the save love for your children, because I do believe that Fen really did love Xaden.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
And like, I'm just like, oh, a king who actually loves his children.
Yes.
Woof.
But do we think who was he writing this to? I think he was probably writing it to his sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like something you would write to your sister when she doesn't want to marry someone that she doesn't love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we know it's someone who probably has a child, and we know she had Bodhi. So
Yeah.
it
And
does
then
go
clearly
like
the
that.
dad wasn't in the picture, so maybe she left her contract too.
Yeah.
Yep. I like it.
I like it.
All right, so let's scoot right back into our island's adventures. Why do we think, why do some runes work off the continent and in what material? So we know they're experimenting with this.
Yeah, and I got to give it to Mira for like really coming prepared on this one.
Yes.
Like she's like, everybody, here's a rune. Let's try it out. Like,
So I kind of have a very wild theory that I don't
tell
even
me.
think could be true, but it's like a fun theory to speculate about.
Yeah.
of why some runes work off the continent. I'm almost wondering if we're thinking about the islands in the wrong way. Maybe they used to have magic, and that's actually where maybe the venin originated from, and they drained them all. And it's been so many years now that the land is slowly regenerating.
I like it.
Which is why now
like
some
it.
magic works there and some of it doesn't, and why some color is coming back.
Hidotus is so bland, and they make it such a point to say that. That's so interesting.
Yes, and
I like it.
And the farthest away one is the one that has the most magic return to it, probably because the venin slowly worked towards the continent. Exactly.
I like that.
And the other part that kind of influences this idea for me is when they're in Unreal, Violet makes a very weird note about how their emblem is 2 crossed swords gripped in the center by a claw, aka a dragon claw. Which is the emblem of Dune. And she says it's really similar to their own. And she says that suggests it has a common origin, which makes me think, did magic and dragons used to be on the islands?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, because even the Irids later say, like, oh, maybe the venom will learn their lesson and then the land will regenerate itself or something like that. We know everyone loves to erase history in this world. Maybe it's like so far back before the Great War, they don't even know this already happened.
Right. Yeah, I like it.
It's like a crazy theory, and it like doesn't really have that much like to go behind it, but it's just kind of a fun thing to think about of like why that little line is important and why some runes work off the continent. I think it's because traces of magic still exist.
Yeah.
So another weird line we get from Violet, that's a throwaway. We love a little throwaway line that causes us to spiral. As they're flying, I think it's to Hidotus. She says, I listen as Taryn recites the lore of his breed from the first of his line up to Thoreau, the first black dragon to ever successfully bond during the Great War. And then he stops. Apparently, the story is no longer worth telling once humans are involved. I mean, alarm bells, alarm bells.
He was like, well, I don't want to talk about that writer, so we're done.
Well, it makes me think, are there any other black dragons after him? And that's why he stops. And is he Thoreau? Because we now know from Rebecca Yarros that dragons do not always give their correct names at orientation.
I think that Taryn could be one of the first 6 dragons.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes me think maybe not is that Coda is older than him. But that just means maybe Coda also existed during that time, but wasn't one of the first to bond.
Exactly. Okay, here's the reason why I don't think Coda was one of the first 6, because they used both Taryn and Coda to do both of the ward stones.
Oh, you're
right. So
they
couldn't have been those.
You're totally right. All right, theory squashed.
But do I think
Taryn's fire wouldn't have worked?
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Yep. But I am like, also, why is this line in here then? It feels very sus that he stopped describing the list of black dragons after the Great War.
If it's just that his fire didn't work because his fire didn't work in tangent with Coda's?
But they fired separately.
Yeah, they fired separately. So
Taryn was in Arisha, and then Coda was at Basgaeth. And you can only fire one ward stone.
Which actually says, though, Coda could be, because if he fired the original Basgaeth wardstone, his fire would still work on it when he fired it the second time.
Wait, say that again?
Yeah. So they say
so that they can fire the same wardstone, like...
I mean, we don't know that they can't. All they say is that once one dragon's fire is used on one wardstone, that's it. It doesn't say they can't refire the same wardstone they've already fired.
Loophole!
So Coda definitely could be Thoreau, and we know that there are basically like no black dragons.
Yeah,
so that's the thing.
Which is why it was so interesting that Andarna was presenting as black.
Exactly.
Oh,
so is it just literally Coda and Taryn from like the end of time that are like the only ones who've existed?
Well, and Taryn also said that Violet is going to be his last rider. Like he's done, and so that tells me he's
older than he seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
Very interesting.
Huh. Very interesting.
So now we're on Unreal, and something pops up here that feels foreshadowing. The priestess in the temple says to Arik, even if you accepted your death, Dune has not chosen you to prove your skill this day. Do we think Arik dies in the series and that his precog has already told him that he is going to die? He also says earlier on in the book, I will fight in this war, most likely die, and do so knowing that I protected others.
I mean, he says it.
Yeah.
He does. And now that we know he has precog, it's definitely a little scary, especially because the priestess says, even if you accepted your death, basically saying
You have.
That he
you
hasn't.
have, and she knows that he has,
Yeah.
but that it's not today, essentially.
Whoa.
Yeah, it makes me very nervous, but it's weird because it almost feels like all the rest of the foreshadowing about the royal line says that Ark's going to be the one sitting on the throne at the end.
Yeah.
But I do see another like option C
Mhm.
where King Tari, Halden, and Ark die.
Whoa.
And then the continent goes full democracy and is ruled by like the way Tyrandor basically is ruled by committee, which
Ooh, a democracy?
it does kind of like work out of like
Yeah.
it would be very sad if Ark died, obviously, but we know Rebecca Yarros is not above killing a beloved character.
Yeah.
And then if the whole royal line died, it does kind of bring this world more into our century with democracy, that storyline, kind of like Game of Thrones, where it's like there should be no king.
Yeah.
And I do see it.
I could see that. I mean, with the scenario, they already kind of have it built up that way.
Exactly.
And it's just like formality to involve the king.
100%.
Yeah. Valid.
Yeah, I see it. I don't want Art to die. I would just like to say that.
No, me
I
neither.
love
I want him to, yeah.
And I also think there is some foreshadowing of him and Kat ending up together. So I don't think...
would like that.
I think we all would love that. Yes.
I would like that.
So it's not off the table, but it is an option, I feel like. So they move on to Hedotus, and we get a line about how Hedion only seems to answer to those who do not pray to him, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And why that is, I mean, I think it is because you should never, like Violet says, seek wisdom. It's like that thing of like people who seek power are the ones who probably shouldn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
And I think that's why Hedion doesn't even really like his own followers, which is kind of funny.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think it's this thing where like even now, when you pray for strength, God or the universe will give you things to overcome, right? Maybe it's saying that the gods don't want like worship or like give blah, 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 blah. They want like action, right? It's like,
certain
you know,
gods.
you have
We
to
know certain gods. Yeah.
Certain gods.
Yeah.
You know, they want action. Mind belief can sort of cloud willpower or
and wisdom. Their wisdom's terrible. Like
Yeah.
as we see on the island, their wisdom is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, what are you doing?
They're a port city with no port.
Hello.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But while we're on Hedotus, obviously we all know what happens there. There is a huge theory, and this is the biggest point in the story that supports people thinking that Riddick is the brother at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Riddick gets stabbed
Mhm.
by the chef, and she says there's no hole in his shirt either, just 2 slices through his flight jacket and a cut in the counter, everyone. If he was actually stabbed in the side, there would be no cut in the counter because the knife would be in his stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say, disproving that Riddick is like secretly a venin, and the reason he doesn't bleed here is because he's venin or whatever nonsense.
Sure.
Like so many people thinking like, oh, he didn't bleed here because he's venin. He really did get stabbed. And it's like, no, there's a cut in the counter, meaning the knife went through his jacket into the counter. If he was stabbed, that slice would not be there. Also,
Fair.
literally this past week, Rebecca Yarros said that she hates sewing, and she was kind of like, do with that what you will. And I think this is her just like putting a funny thing in the book there. She's like, because Riddick gets so mad that he has to fix his flight jacket because he hates sewing. I think it's her just trying to be funny.
I love it. I love it. It is funny.
Yeah, that she was just trying to put in a little Rebecca Yarros humor here. Like, I'll think this is funny, but no one else will. And now the whole fandom is spiraling that Riddick is a venin. Yeah. And she's like, guys, calm down. Stop reading into every
I feel like she has
thing.
to tell the fandom that like weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm sorry, guys. I don't think Riddick is the brother at the end. This was the only piece of evidence towards that, and it is so disproven if you really read the lining.
Mm-hmm.
So
womp womp.
Womp womp. Let's head to Zelda. This is going to be a fun one. So Rebecca Yarros has said that all of the gifts that they receive in Zelda do have specific meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So let's discuss what we think those meanings are.
Okay.
These are actually not random gifts, according to Rebecca Yarros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mira gets wine. I think Mira gets wine because she needs to loosen up a bit.
I was just going to say the same verbiage, even just like she's got to loosen up a little bit. Like she's so rigid.
So rigid.
She needs to calm down.
And we all know, I think, where Mira and Drake are heading. And I think she might need some little liquid courage to let her walls down and get jiggy with a certain flyer.
Yeah. Also, if you think about wine, right? So, it's a symbol of celebration, family, sacrifice. Wine ages over time. She's like a seasoned protector. Her maturity. Wine is like the blood of war. She's the one who bled, sacrificed for years.
And she literally bleeds at the end of this book.
She literally bleeds at the end of this. So I think wine is also a symbol of sacrifice, martyrdom, ritual, all of that stuff. So I think there's so many things that it could be.
Ooh, ritual is a good one too.
Yeah.
So then we have Marin. She gets 2 orange tunics. How many brothers does she have?
She has 2, yeah.
She has 2 brothers.
And orange is like a symbol of warning, danger, right?
I mean, I also think it could just be does Marin end up living on Zelna with her brothers at some point?
Yeah.
Or do they, or is there some kind of mission they go on where she has to disguise them as being Zelnies,
right.
Because we know the troops from Zelna come into the continent.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something happens in the next book where she has to disguise her brothers in the army or something.
Yeah.
It's just fair. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Dane gets a slap, but I think we all know why.
Fucking love this so much.
I think we all know why Dane gets slapped. We don't need to
amazing.
It's poetic. It's poetic justice.
It's poetic justice, absolutely. It's definitely Zanal being you deserve this slap from me from everything that happened.
Idiot. Yeah. Okay. We love that.
So this one is interesting. Garrett gets a rusted steel bucket. What could Garrett possibly need a rusted steel bucket for in the series? I don't know, other than maybe that's what he carries the dragon eggs in later. I don't know. We don't know how big a dragon egg is.
I think it's more metaphorical than that. I think a bucket is a vessel that holds things. He's like the squad's container, right? He holds things, he holds it together. He's steady, he's reliable.
Why is it rusty?
Because I think it's a little bit weakened or decayed, right? So maybe the rust,
Xaden
stuff he hasn't
is the rust.
Yeah, or he's being stretched too thin, or the hidden weakness is it's his dragons and daddy issues that he has to work out before he can really be that steel bucket for his team and to really hold them. I don't know.
The rusted steel bucket, I think when that does, if it ever comes into play, we're all going to be I don't think anyone's going to guess what the rusted steel bucket is about.
Garrick, grab the bucket.
Right? Sure. Arik gets a fractured hand mirror that cuts his thumb.
Yeah.
Which feels very ominous. We all know broken mirrors are bad luck.
Yeah.
It definitely plays into that is Arik gonna die thing.
Also, the mirror symbolism to his signet, I feel is a really good parallel, and it's broken.
Well, that's the thing too for me. It's broken, right? So maybe he's actually not seeing the full picture. Maybe it's a symbol that he is seeing the reflection of the
future.
Truth, identity. He's seeing the reflection, but he's seeing only a part of it. And maybe the cut is that's what's going to be the thing. The fractured part is the thing that's going to potentially make him bleed for the truth or for the squad, or he's gonna die or whatever it is, but he's seeing it in pieces,
right? He's not looking at the bigger picture.
Totally.
That's really good. Xaden gets an empty glass box with pewter hinges, and he later calls it his box of nothingness. A lot of the fandom thinks that at the end of this book, Xaden somehow takes the last piece of his soul and does something with it. And some people think he puts it in this empty glass box, which is why he was given this by Zanal.
Oh my God, this is like a jar of mist.
It's like the jar of mist. I don't think so. I think it's more symbolism here again of it's symbolizing when he becomes nothingness, when
Like
he's venin.
the
And
shell of
when
himself.
he's the shell of himself, he has no more
He's lost his
feelings.
soul.
He's lost
Yeah,
his soul. I think
I
it's more of a
think
symbol here.
me too. I think most of these things are symbols. I don't think they're like tools that are going to necessarily be used moving forward. I don't think Eric's going to
Right.
need a broken mirror. Like I don't necessarily think the bucket either. Like maybe because it's not broken, but it's rusted. Just feel like it's empty. It just
Right.
like
It's
screams
a symbol.
corruption. It screams venin. It screams we know that you are getting like we know what's
Yes.
happening. It screams
That
that he's
Xenol knows what's happening.
yes,
Yes.
that's what it is. Everyone can see that he's also trapped inside this glass box. It could be like so many different things, right?
Mhm.
He could also become a vessel. I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, he's kind of he'll be an empty vessel, but he'll still be a vessel nonetheless. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, going with the same symbolism, that's what Violet's is as well, the broken
Mhm.
compass. Like
Yeah.
her compass was always, her north was Xaden. So
Yeah,
now,
true north. Yeah.
It's broken.
now it's broken.
So she has to make her own
Oh,
path.
wait, I
She's got to
love
make her own
that.
path. But because it's broken, she has to make her own path so that she can
Yeah.
then become the compass for others. She's like,
Yep.
he was my true north. And now there's like something broken in that. So if I still want to find my true north, it has to be
Her
more of
new
an
gravity.
inner journey.
Yep.
Yeah, her new gravity. I will
Yeah.
say Violet's is the one I see, and a lot of the fandom does, as being the most likely as being a realistic tool. A lot of people think that this compass is kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean style, where
Oh, I love that.
it doesn't point north, and she's going to be
Yeah.
using it in her dreams next book to find.
Whoa.
I love that.
It's a dream compass.
It's a
I
dream
love that.
compass.
When I read this, I thought about it. Did I text you? I was like, I think this compass is going to come into play.
Yes.
For sure.
Out of all of them, it's the only one that I feel like could be more literal than symbolic. I do also think it's symbolic because that's a beautiful symbolism there. But then it's also, do we want Rebecca Yarros to kind of have this thing that's been used in a fantasy series before? Like, because it is a very like on the nose, kind of exactly what the Pirates of the Caribbean compass did.
Yeah.
It's a little like much. So I almost prefer it, I think, if it's not, and it's just beautiful symbolism, like
too.
you just
Me
said.
too.
Yeah.
But it's also a cool
here's
idea
the
that she
thing.
could actually use it in her dreams to find
right. But then, we're skipping a couple characters on our list. But then I'm like, but broccoli is real.
Broccoli's definitely real.
So like, broccoli's has to stay with them. Like maybe someone will drop the bucket and leave the bucket. But like broccoli.
And Rebecca Yarros has confirmed that Broccoli does not die. It is the only death she has confirmed for us in the whole series. She will not kill Broccoli.
She could not. She would lose me.
She would lose everyone, I think. You can't introduce a cat or a dog.
No, you would lose so much of your audience.
Well, and here's the thing. It's also showing that we shouldn't necessarily take every single one of these so seriously, as she did also say that she wrote Broccoli at like 2 a.m. and she just thought it would be funny. And it is funny. She didn't realize how much the fandom was going to like go nuts for Broccoli. If anyone saw on the Onyx Storm tour, people were like throwing Broccoli at her feet during interviews. And she was just like,
amazing.
Is that Broccoli?
I saw that. Yeah.
So yeah, like not every one of these necessarily has this like grand, insane meaning. I do think Broccoli could also be one of those things, like we said with the wine, helps bring Drake and Mira together, because Mira takes the cat later and she's like, give that cat to me. And it's like they bond over this cute little kitten.
Exactly.
And I also love the way that he names Broccoli, because no one wants broccoli, but it's still good for you.
Yeah. I know.
But
I
that's
love
the
that.
thing, right? No one wants it, but it's good for you. So even broccoli is a symbol of like, you still need to have a comic relief. You still have to like growth, resilience, something that seems like crazy, but actually can be the heartbeat of something, like the sustainability of something. Like, I don't know.
No, broccoli still works, like even though it's like a funny thing.
Yeah, it does.
It's still a great symbol. And then we have Riddick. He gets kissed. I think we also all know why. Everyone is pretty certain he's blessed by Xenol. So obviously he gets a kiss. He says it multiple times in the book that Xenol is like his favorite god, and everyone definitely thinks that Xenol blesses him. I mean, he's one lucky motherfucker. Also, if he's blessed by Xenol, that just brings us back to that is why the knife missed his side and went into the counter, because he's blessed by Xenol.
Yeah.
So Kat gets a gold necklace with a ruby on it.
I love it.
Yes, and talk about foreshadowing for
She's like-
royalty. Yeah, talk about foreshadowing for royalty. This to me
Yeah.
is like major, oh my gosh, please end up with Arik at the end of the series foreshadowing, because she's going to be sitting on some kind of throne or
Yeah.
some kind
Which
of
is all she wanted
or yes,
ever.
or being
Yeah.
some kind of duchess, which I also think that brings us to our last one of Traeger getting the arrow. I
Yeah.
also think this is why Zenal kills Traeger, is because they were in a relationship and he was like, no, you have to end up with
Arik.
Arik.
Oof.
And he was like, I have to get
Mhm.
Traeger out of the way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is very sad. After we're done on Zenal and they all lose another piece of their humanity, having to thank them for killing Traeger, which was also, Jesus Christ, horrible. They are supposed to go to Loisum, but they don't, because the Irids come find them first. I feel like this is going to be super important in future books that they did not end up going to it. And I think one of the big reasons could be because there's a theory going out there that Loyal blesses Xaden. Yeah, so if, they have that quote, only two require a lifetime of dedication, Dune and Loyal. For both war and love, chain souls irrevocably. And we know that Dune blesses Violet. So if they're mirrors of each other, Loyal blesses Xaden. So, but they also conveniently don't go to this island, and they don't find their cure.
Yeah.
Interesting. Also, we've talked a little bit about how Theophany knows that she can't go to temple because she's venin now, and it would take away the one thing that she's worked towards. So does that mean if Xaden had gone to Loyal that he would have been cured? I don't know that is the solution for the series. It doesn't feel right, but it also is like fun foreshadowing here. And I do think that them not going to Loisum is major red flag.
Yeah, I think there's definite answers there.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the solution, but I do feel like there's answers.
I think like there's answers. I think it's more likely, I think we all know love is probably going to be one of the solutions to curing venin at the end of this book. And I think they will find answers to their questions there. I don't think Xaden will be cured there. I think the whole blessing of the gods with him and Loyal is a little bit far-fetched, because there's nothing in the series telling me that she blesses him other than this line. And it doesn't feel like enough, but I do feel like they will find answers there, because I think it's going to, I do feel like at the end of the series, it's going to have that Harry Potter-esque thing of like love conquers all, love is the solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And if it's the island of love.
Makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So then they return home. And let's discuss a little bit about Brennan knowing now about Xaden and trying to mend him, all of those things. I don't know when we think Xaden told Brennan about it. I've almost wondered if he's known from the very beginning and just not said anything, because there is a few moments in the book where he's like got a furrowed brow and he's like staring at Xaden and all these things that are kind of like, did he know then? Not sure.
Right.
Or is it just when Xaden finally was like, I can't give up. Like Violet and Sigale need me. I have to at least try with Brennan. And we know they try so many different things. But let's talk about, everyone in this world is so stuck on Mender being the solution to fixing the venin, curing the venin. And I think, Allie, you've mentioned it too, and it's something I've thought about since reading the very first time I've learned about a siphon, is I feel like, why is no one looking to siphons?
Exactly.
Like, it just feels so obvious to me. Like, where's our brilliant fucking woman? Everyone's so stuck on this being like some kind of illness, when it's all about power and magic. And who transfers power and magic? A siphon. Why have they not tried a siphon? I don't understand.
Well, and this is where I think like Sloane really comes into play.
Yeah.
And why I think she'll be such a pivotal character in the next book. But again, girl needs to start practicing so she doesn't just kill everyone.
Right.
But training her signet is important.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
So going back to the siphons. So basically, I think that somehow Sloane and Andarna are going to be the main keys as to how to get the venin out of Xaden. I feel like a lot of this can be supported by the fact that it says that Neolin was able to take out, as we know he was a siphon, he was able to remove things and transfer them somewhere else. So by that logic, I almost think that Sloane could siphon it out and Andarna could displace it somewhere else.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
So I was thinking like Sloane could siphon magic from Andarna into Xaden to like replace the bad magic that he's stolen from the earth kind of thing.
Opposite, I
Oh, interesting.
think. Which is also why I'm like, girl, you got to train so that you can identify which is which.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
She's going to need lots of training. I like, honestly, both of those I feel like feel
Me
good.
too. I like them.
But yeah, I feel like the keys are Sloane and Andarna and somehow working together for sure to like cure venenism or whatever we think is happening there. Whether you want to call it a cure or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, and I just like don't understand how in this world no one's looking at it that way. It's just like, you're a brilliant fucking woman. Stop trying to like look at this like a disease. And even Jack says that. He's like, it's not a disease what we have is power.
Yeah.
And it's that also feels like a very specific foreshadowing sentence of like, stop trying to use menders, people.
Yeah, you can't fix it.
Yeah, you can't mend it. It's not something to be mended.
Yep.
It's all about magic and the balance and all those things.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that theory. Okay.
Thanks.
I agree.
So let's discuss Violet's second signet.
Okay.
Finally, after the fandom theorized for like a year over what it could be, and then we get 3/4 of a way through a book and we still don't know. We finally find out what Violet's second signet is. And I can't believe, Allie, that you guessed it because no one thought that that's where that was going. Like very few people on the internet
Greatest
thought it was
accomplishment.
dreamwalking. Everyone just thought it like wasn't that exciting. And Rebecca Yarros said that. She was like, her second signet is, you're not going to think it's that exciting. And she said that. And it was kind of like, oh, okay. But we all thought it was because it was like intrinsic of like, oh, we've seen that before. So not exciting.
Yeah.
But Rebecca Yarros has said in an interview that there is only one person on the continent that could train Violet's second signet. And a lot of people think that for some reason this is Dane. And I'm like, guys, no, this is so not Dane. This is definitely Berwyn. Berwyn is clearly also a dreamwalker.
I think it's Berwyn too.
Fair.
Yeah, she'll use dream. Yeah, she's gonna use dreamwalking to meet Xaden and in the shadows.
But like, how else would Berwyn be? Because like, these are not nightmares. I think we all know at this point, Berwyn is really there talking to them, especially after he tells them that he basically has Mira.
Yeah.
Which tells me he is absolutely a dreamwalker. He's the only one been allowed to live because it's an intrinsic skill and he's a venin. Yeah. And he's the only person in this book we've seen with that skill. It's absolutely Berwyn. He even says, and here I'd hoped you be a quick learner, which to me shows that he thinks that he is her teacher here.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about someone who is knowing what this signet is, he's clearly also a dreamwalker. And that is how he's been torturing Xaden for months.
Yeah.
What a fun thing.
And by proxy, Violet.
And by proxy, Violet. It also kind of shows us a little bit how her gift is going to work if that's true. Like, that means she can't physically hurt anyone in their dreams. Berwyn, even if he stabbed Xaden would just wake up, which is good to see. Yeah. So, but it does mean that they can communicate very clearly once she learns how to evolve this gift, which means I'm pretty sure we're going to get some dreamwalking sex, which is how we're only going to get Violet and Xaden sex in the next book.
That's how they're 100%.
Yes, 100%. And it's also, I think, going to be the downfall of her little plan of like, Imogen, erase my memory so I don't remember what happens, because she's immediately going to go into her dreams, see Xaden, see the truth of all the things that she just erased.
Yep.
Yep. Also, it's giving Metal Slinger.
Yeah, she doesn't. It is giving Metal Slinger. She doesn't know how her gift works. So I think, at the end of Onyx Storm, when she has Imogen erase her memories, she doesn't realize that that's something that could happen.
Yeah.
She doesn't totally understand how the dream walking works yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it's Berwyn. I definitely think he's weirdly going to teach her on accident how to use her gift. I think he's going to start visiting her dreams, and that's going to be that thing of like the Theophany Violet relationship, where Theophany was also kind of like giving information and teaching Violet unknowingly or begrudgingly, I should say.
Yeah.
And like taunting her. And that's the same thing is going to happen between her and Berwin in the dreams.
Yeah.
Do we think Violet's going to tell anyone about her second signet in her squad?
I don't know.
I could see her telling Sawyer, Jesinia, Rhee, and Riddick. We have to remember she's not as secretive as Xaden is.
Yeah.
And like, while yes,
No.
this is an intrinsic ability, it's not the same
As mind reading.
As mind reading. So I think the squad would take it less like, even though it is, Xaden points out, it is more dangerous because you can't block against what Violet is doing.
Yeah.
I think it feels like less scary for her to impart that information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know what a dreamwalker is. Whereas like, you just hear the word intrinsic and you're like, let's kill that person.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she trusts her squad with the knowledge that Xaden is venin.
Yeah.
I
mean, at that point, there's not much else to hide.
Yeah.
And also, how is she going to train the signet? I think she needs to practice on other people who are not Xaden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to come visit you tonight.
Yeah. Hey, Riddick, I'm going to come visit you. Please don't do anything ridiculous.
Right.
Which honestly would be great comic relief for the next book.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Here for it.
I'm here for it. All right, so let's move on to discussing Dane and Sloane. We've definitely talked about it a little bit. The fandom going feral for the one-line eyes here. And him and her saying, "I'm going to hurt you." And he says, "Gods, don't I know it?" And I think we all know he does not mean physically hurt him in this moment.
No.
I love it.
Yes.
So much.
I love it so much. It also makes me wonder, because I think we're all curious about how Rebecca Yarros is going to get spice into the next book. I think we just talked about, we think there's going to be dreamwalking sex. But we also know in this book she introduces other POVs like Rhee and Imogen. Do we think in the next book we're going to get Dane and Sloane POVs with their love story so that she can put more of that love story romantic-y vibe into the book now that Xaden and Violet are separated?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I could kind of
I don't hate the idea.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, she does come from a world of interconnected standalones. So for people who don't know what that means, like a lot of her series, it's the same world. Like, it'll be like a 5-book series, but each book will be a different love story. But they're all connected in the same, like all those people are friends essentially.
Yeah.
So like I could see her bringing a little bit of that in here if she wanted to, because she's doing it with Dane and Sloane. She's also doing it with Imogen and Garrick a little bit, although now we know Garrick is also gone, so I don't think that would be the couple she's like pinning her hopes and dreams on here.
Yeah,
but I could see it a little bit, or we're just gonna hopefully get more of it from Violet's POV of like catching them kissing or like something. We gotta get more like romantasy into the plot, I think, now that we know Xaden and Violet are only going to be speaking in dreams. Or maybe they just speak in dreams every night and we get plenty of it and we're fine.
There we go. Yeah.
That brings us to, a lot of people have thoughts about having Rhiannon and Imogen's point of view in this book. A lot of fans did not love it. How do we? It's how I feel too. I loved having their POVs. I did not feel like it took me out of the story. If anything, it added to the story. It added to Violet's.
I agree.
It actually added to Violet's character development, especially the chapter of Rhee, because of that line that leads into it of, "I can't be everywhere at once, and I'm not the best of us. She is."
Yeah.
And she's talking about Rhee, and then it cuts to her POV. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful character development for Violet, showing that she's growing as a character. And I loved being in their brains. I mean, we know, we've talked about this so much, how Violet is the author of this book, and we get POVs when she is not there.
Yeah.
And we would never have gotten these point of views of battle if not for these POVs that we needed. We needed to know what was happening in this battle because Violet finally took a step back and was like, I can't do everything.
Yeah.
You know, and this showed us what was happening on the battle where Rhee was. And then we also would not have gotten Quinn's death if we were not in Imogen's POV. And a lot of people were like, whatever, Quinn wasn't that big a character. But I think having it from Imogen's POV made the death more impactful and more sad and beautiful because we got it from her best friend's POV. If we'd gotten that from Violet's POV, if Violet somehow had managed to be over in
Fair.
that side of the battle. Yeah, I just don't think that death would have been very impactful.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, but
I agree
some
with you.
some
It
fans did
also
not love
really
that.
humanizes Imogen on a level that she hasn't been yet. And so it didn't take me out of the story at all. I liked having their POVs a
Same.
lot.
Me too.
I thought it was very fun, and I was like, oh, we're not just getting Violet and Xaden, now we're getting like other people. I'm like, who else are we gonna get in the future?
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
excited about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So we're getting to the end here. We're obviously talking about the last battle. So we touched on it a little bit, but talk about Venin and going to a god's temple. Theophany says, knowing that it would sever the very thing that's kept me untouchable all these years. Do we think she means that it would have just severed her power, or it would have killed her? Because we do know she does get stabbed with the Dune dagger, and it obviously kills her. But do we think just going to the temple would have killed her, or is that part of the cure of being some people being venin? Because obviously that would only work with Theophany because she was a priestess.
Yeah.
I don't know. And is that one of the things that Theophany is kind of taunting Violet with the whole book? She keeps saying, I have the answers you seek. I have the answers you seek. Is it this?
Yeah.
Is it her being like, you could cure Xaden if you take him to the temple where he was dedicated, if he is dedicated to someone?
Yeah,
Right.
because it is really tricky because like Theophany was dedicated to Dune, and as we eventually find out too, so was Violet, even though she didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it is very, very, very possible that he was dedicated, and that is a portion of it.
Oh,
But
so
also, does it kill them?
I saw someone saying that they think Xaden was dedicated to Loyal because of his eyes, because of his gold-flecked eyes. And it's like the foil to Violet's silver hair, because silver and gold are opposites.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's a stretch, but I don't hate it. But I also don't really think Xaden's dedicated to Loyal.
He has no reason to have been.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to have been. We know from Brennan and, great grandmother Niara or whatever that people would dedicate their children to try and save them, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Because Violet's dad thought there was something physically wrong with her, and so he tried to dedicate her. That part was really tragic. But yeah, I don't see why Xaden would have ever been dedicated. Also, his mom has the exact same eye color, so that means she's dedicated, but she's from Hedotis. So
she's from Hedotis. Yeah.
I don't get it. It's definitely a bit of a stretch.
And then also he even makes a point to say oh, of course she's from Hedotis. No wonder nobody ever came to visit. Which implies that it's so far and everything.
Yeah.
It just, why would they go so far to a different island to dedicate him?
I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah. So then Xaden goes ASIM for Sigale this time, and I absolutely love that it's for Sigale this time and not Violet, especially after the whole plot line with his mother. It's absolutely beautiful and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I also think, as we've seen throughout the series, Sigale and Xaden and Taryn and Violet, they have very unique bonds between writer and dragon. They definitely don't put their writers below dragonkind the way a lot of other dragons do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see it too. Sigale and Taryn are definitely pseudo-parents to Andarna. They're pseudo-parents to Violet and Xaden. And I just... Sigale definitely is I am your mother.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that he feels the same way towards her. And he's just you do not touch a scale on her snout, man. I'm going to kill you all.
Do not.
And it's so sad and poetic and all of those things. I absolutely loved it. Even though obviously we don't want him to turn ASIM. The way it happened was perfect.
Yeah.
No. I mean, but also if he sacrificed humanity for his dragon, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this first love.
Yep.
Sorry.
So this leads us into discussing who the brother could be at the end of the book.
Dun, dun, dun.
We've already, I feel disproven Riddick.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other option could be Arik. Some people think it's Arik because he was seen headed away from the battle. But let's remind ourselves he came back with the army. So that's why he was headed away from battle.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it could be him because he is precog and he could see himself needing to turn venin to help save the continent to be with Xaden. I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Okay. I didn't even think of him as one of when I was going through this in my mind. It was either Bodhi or Garrick for me.
Yeah, so I don't know. I never thought about it being Ark either. It just doesn't feel right to me. Like, and people are saying like the line about how he's watched me struggled all these months, and Ark we know was not in the group that knew, but because he's precog, people are like, well, maybe he did know all along, and him and Xaden have been working together all along, and it's just
Oh my
like,
goodness.
it's just a lot of like, you guys
Mhm.
are reading between the lines way too much. Like, I
Yeah.
think we've said this before with Violet's second signet of last book of like, the truth doesn't need so much effort. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, look, Garrick is the brother, right?
I think the main two are it's either Garrick or Bodhi.
Garrick
Yeah.
or Bodhi. Well, Garrick, okay, so clues would be
He had no more power at the end of
no
the
more
battle.
power at the end of
Yeah.
the battle. Is it siphoned off? His loyalty to Xaden is obviously like
Yeah.
absolute.
And
The
he's
stabbing
missing at the end of
incident,
the book.
he's missing
He's
at the end of the book.
Rebecca
This-
Yarros said, pay attention to who's missing at the end of the book.
It would be a twist because no one suspects him as much, it feels like.
Right.
His power fading could parallel like Xaden's shift moment. It explains why he's like single-mindedly tethered to Xaden in a lot of ways.
I mean, hands down, I think it's Bodhi.
Yes.
So the other clue Rebecca Yarros gave was look at who feels like they haven't been given enough.
And I think that's why I always think it's Bodhi too,
It's Bodhi.
because he's very like, it's good to feel needed. He doesn't have a second signet, just like like there's a parallel there.
There's a whole long list during this reread that I was like, here's another instance Bodhi feels less than. Here's another instance Bodhi feels less than.
Yeah.
And it's a long, long list.
And I mean, even Xaden says at one point, he's like, I know, brother.
Yeah.
Everything goes to you if I die.
Yeah, he's protective. I think there was a quote in there somewhere that said like, I'm doing what I've always wanted, protecting my cousin, like my province or whatever, my whole like. And then also didn't he say something like my signet is always the balance? Like,
but then he gets proven wrong during the battle because it doesn't work on Theophany, so he feels like he needs more power.
Yeah.
And then to me, the most obvious reason it's Bodhi is during the battle. I think it's Imogen who sees him. Bodhi is on his hands and knees across the town square retching.
Yeah, I remember
Which makes me think he purposely drew from the source to be with Xaden to protect him because he feels like that's his duty, and it made him so nauseous to do something he knew was going to destroy him that he was throwing up.
Absolutely. I agree.
Why else would he be throwing up in the middle of battle?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason. I always thought it was Bodhi, and then I was like, well, maybe it's too obvious, but I was like, nope.
I've had the same. That has been my same thing too. Yeah. It's like,
but let's just quote Rebecca Yarros herself: "The truth rarely needs effort."
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
And like,
no, I mean,
the list goes on and on. He literally says, "I will be at your side. I'm coming with you, Xaden." Like,
come on.
Even Violet thinks during Battle Brief, she says, sometimes I forget just how nearly perfect Bodhi is at everything. No one thought of him during Battle Brief yesterday, and he should have been the first name that came to mind. He's constantly overlooked. He's constantly like being like in this book, like, oh, can I go on the expedition? His eyes lighting up, and they're like, no, sorry, you're not coming. And he's just like, fuck, like, why does no one need me?
Like, yeah, exactly. I think the most textual evidence is directly, it's Bodhi.
It's Bodhi. I think people are trying to over theorize because we know, Rebecca Yarros loves to give us a twist, but this just feels like Violet's second signet all over again, where it's like, it's so plainly in the text. We just need to like look at the text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are clues, like I said before, of like why you could convince yourself it's Garrick, like those things that I listed. Right. But even if you list them out, it just doesn't feel as aligned as Bodhi to me.
No.
Yeah.
It's absolutely Bodhi at this point. And if it's not, you're going to have to pick me up off the floor.
Yeah, and I feel like even when we discuss this in Fourth Wing, like we've all kind of been in the camp that it's Bodhi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do we think is Sigale with Xaden in book 4? So we get this conversation between Sigale and Xaden that's very PC at the end. She says her decision will determine our fate. Not your fate, but our fate, which immediately makes me think Sigale is coming with him, no matter what. We also don't know that technically Sigale and Xaden could be separated. As far as we know, even when you turn venin, that bond does not break.
Yeah.
But I do think, because we have Andarna in play, that she could have broken the bond between them, but Sigale decided to go with Xaden because she sees him as a son.
Yeah.
And the bond that got broken at the end was Sigale and Terrence. Because when Violet's back, Andarna says he needs a cycle of rest to recover, and Violet says, recover from what?
Yeah.
And I think Andarna broke their mate bond so that Sigale could go with Xaden. Which
Heartbreaking.
is heartbreaking.
Oh, I don't want to.
I know. But I also think it's so beautiful that even through not speaking to him through an entire book, Sigil is standing by his side.
Yeah.
And I think what convinced her is at the end, he lowers his shield, or lowers his ice, it says, not his shields. He lowers the ice to let her see into his mind, and her eyes widen and she startles. And I think she's seeing that he's still in there.
Mm-hmm.
That he still has that thread that Violet threw to him, that piece of him, his piece of soul that is not gone.
I hate this so much.
I know.
These none of these dragons better die.
God, I know. Which leads us to the discussion of, throughout the whole book, Violet trusting Xaden. Do we think Xaden's really going to be an evil venin at the end? All of those things, versus how her friends also treat him. So I think Violet, as much as everyone sees her as this like naive person throughout the book, the more people find out that Xaden is venin, she's actually going off more on facts. Like she says, my decision to trust him is based purely on the facts of our proven history, that he's never hurt her. Like, no matter how many times he pulls from the source, he still loves her so much.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that Xaden is alone in being a type of venin that this has happened to before. We get a very interesting epigraph that seems random, where it says the only adult amongst the 3 survivors described her as astonishingly ageless, hair as black as the day we were married, meaning that a venin showed up to her hometown and did not kill her husband or drain him and left him alive.
Yep.
And it just feels very pointed of like, if you truly love someone, deep down, true, like all-encompassing heart type of love, that sticks with you when you're a venin.
Yeah.
And even at the end, like I said, he lowers the ice, lets her in. I think she's seeing that love bond still exists, which is why she stays by Xaden's side. I don't think he's evil. Even when we're in his mind at the very end, he's still like, he kills all the wyverns. He helps them win. And then he even questions, he's like, this is good. And then he's like, oh, wait, is it bad? I don't know. Am I supposed to think it's bad now? It's kind of like he's like, what am I? But his first thought was that it was a good thing he killed everyone. So it tells me that he's like all of a sudden just like evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that weirdly, even though everyone thinks she's naive throughout the book, I think she's actually right. I
think she's right too.
Is not this just evil venin.
No, yeah. I don't think so either. And I remember for me that I was like, the ring has something to do with it. There's like something.
A lot of people think
like his soul
he put his soul in the ring.
Yeah. It's a vessel for like I also was like, ooh, okay, a jar of mist. Another jar of mist, like the empty box, I think there's so many things that could potentially just anchor him love into humanity.
I think his soul is still in him. There's so many people think that he put his soul in the ring. That's like a super popular theory. I disagree with it, because I think if his soul was in the ring, then he would be a soulless venin doing crazy ass shit.
Empty box. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that piece of soul in him is what's tethering him to doing good and Sigale staying with him. So I don't think it's in the ring. It also feels a little too Harry Potter to me, of like a Horcrux. It's like it's just a little like
it is a Horcrux.
And then for the end of time, everyone's just gonna say it's a Horcrux, and it's just like let's not go there.
That's a really fair point.
Yeah. And it's a fun theory, but I don't think that magic also exists in this world. Like, there's nothing telling us that you can separate your soul from your body. Like, it's not like Harry Potter where there's just like where you can like do a spell. And, like,
totally.
It doesn't feel like that type of magic exists.
Yeah.
And so many people have pointed out too, like, if that piece of soul wasn't in his body, then like he would be a soulless venin. So fair. It kind of just doesn't make sense. Yes, but I do think the venin don't really know what they've awakened by doing this dance with Xaden. I don't think he is going to be the typical venin. I think he's going to be almost like infiltrating them and working to destroy them from within, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and he can do it with no emotion, but he's still going to do it.
He's gonna start the Venin rebellion.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, the venin rebellion.
Yeah,
And we
revolution.
No. Yes.
revolution.
And we have that line still of Violet deciding, when he's gone too far, he'd have to kill another rider without cause or hurt civilians, hurt my friends, my dragons, hurt me. If he hurts me, he's not him anymore. And I think a lot of people are scared that that's foreshadowing of that's exactly what he's going to do. But I actually think it's foreshadowing of what he's not going to do, proving that he is not the soulless venin that everyone thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
That just because you're venin doesn't mean you're all of a sudden just going to start killing everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we do know he's going to have to drain from the source to stay alive, but I could see him doing it in a way that's very I'm going to touch this piece of land. I'm not going to, drain a kid.
He's like, anyone have some alloy? Got a hit of alloy?
Yeah, baby, can you use your light to give me a hit of alloy?
Yeah. I love it.
So then let's talk about who we think is missing at the end of the book. They say it's now that one's returned, 4 other riders are missing. We know it's obviously Garrick and or Bodhi, I think, because Garrick is gone. Yeah. They do say Garrick's gone. Mm-hmm. I think it's Bodhi. Arik, I don't think came back. I could see.
I don't think he did either.
And then I think it's Panchek because they don't know Panchek turned evil.
Wait, but what about Imogen?
Imogen's with Violet at the end. So obviously she's back.
But wasn't she seen erasing Violet's memories? I thought she wasn't in the post-battle roundup. Was she not?
No, I think she was.
She was at the final battle. This is the part that I find confusing about the way that this is worded at the end is they act like Imogen wasn't missing, but she was with Violet, so she was missing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's the thing.
Because he says 5 riders were missing, now 4. But he's only talking about Violet coming back. And I'm kind of but Imogen must have been missing too, guys. Why is it now 3?
Well, yeah, that's why I still think Imogen. Because I also think there needs to be a female in there.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that the writer, his actual language, he's not counting Imogen.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why it's confusing, is because logically, as a reader, you're Imogen should have also been missing, but he's not counting her because he's saying that 5 riders were missing, now 4, but it should be now 3 because 2 of them walked up.
Right.
But so does that mean 3 riders are still missing or 4? We don't know. So if it's 3, I think it's Garrick, Bodhi, and Panchek. The end.
Yeah.
If it's 4, I think Arik would be the last rider maybe missing if he had a precog moment and went off to do something else.
Yeah.
But it is a little confusing in the wording. We also know that some of the riders are dead and the dragon eggs are missing. I think absolutely Garrick was sent to steal those dragon eggs to take them to Unreal.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because he's a distance walker.
And Bodhi was
Bodhi's the brother. Bodhi's the brother. Panchek already turned traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think those are the 3 if it's truly 3 people only missing. But if it's 4, I guess I would put Arik in the mix as being the other person missing.
Oh, interesting. I think I would be Bodhi, Garrick, Arik, and then either Panchek or Imogen.
Well, Panchek is missing, according to them. They don't know Panchek is the traitor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay,
so to them, he would be just missing.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. So that does change things. Crazy. I can't wait to find out.
I know. We'll see.
We shall see.
There's only I think 2 little things left to talk about there's a huge theory going around TikTok that Violet is actually married to Bodhi and not Xaden at the end of the book. We got to disprove that, guys. So
I don't want that.
I don't see
it. First of all, don't see it.
Come on. He's a cadet.
A, yes, he's a cadet. That marriage would not be allowed to stand. And B, literally the sentence happens, I'm married to Xaden, and Brennan nods. So
right. Yes.
So he literally cannot be married to Bodhi. I get that people love fun theories, whatever. And they were the whole basis of it is that Xaden made Bodhi and Violet get married to protect Tyrandor.
Yeah.
But that's just not what happened. We also know Xaden is way too jealous and crazy to like let Bodhi marry her in any context.
Never.
Yeah.
Never in
any
a million
context.
years.
Even to
Yeah.
protect her, never in a million years.
No.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
decided to disprove that for a second. And then the last thing is, how do we think, Violet's going to get her memories back? There's a theory going around that Dane is going to maybe be able to retrieve the memory from her brain, even if Imogen erased it.
Yeah, but maybe even Violet dreamwalks in Imogen's dreams and she's dreaming about it. Like,
yeah.
I think
she's like, oh
many
shit,
days.
that's what happened.
I think it would really be too traumatic for Violet to let Dane dig around in her memory, even though she's forgiven him. I don't see that being something she would ever allow him to do again.
No,
Yeah.
it's too intimate.
It's way too intimate, way too traumatic from what he did in Fourth Wing. And I think it's more likely that she dream walks right into the truth, even though she was trying to hide it from herself.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
That, or maybe like if Andarna was there or something, like Andarna can share the memory with her, or Taryn,
But
if they were
Violet's the
there.
one who didn't want herself to have the memory.
Right.
Which also why? So we all know Violet at this point can lie. There's no intrinsics. No one could like get in her memory and be like, you're not telling us the truth. Show us what happened or anything. Like, I mean, Dane, yes, but we all know he wouldn't do that at this point after what happened.
No.
So to me, it also says that whatever happened really hurt her emotionally. And I think that thing was marrying Xaden.
And then him running away.
And then him having to leave and their wedding not be this like beautiful, joyous thing that it was always meant to be in her mind. And I think she just didn't, she knew she had to do it for the greater good, but she didn't want to remember it happening.
Oh,
which is really sad.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not going to remember this one. We'll do it again when you're not a venin.
Exactly.
And we'll do it right.
And we'll do it right. With our friends and family there.
We'll do it up big.
So we've theorized, and now it's time to hand out our roses. The moments in Onyx Storm that made us cheer, swoon, or whisper, Rebecca Yarros, you're a genius, into the void. And where there are roses, there are thorns. There are the moments in Onyx Storm that made us roll our eyes, scream into a pillow, or text the group chat, did that really just happen? AKA the entire ending that we just talked about. So what are you guys' roses for the book?
My biggest rose was seeing Xaden happy in Deverelli.
Yeah.
Because we're probably not going to see that again.
No.
Ever. And it took us 3 books to see it at all.
Until
and you
the
could
epilogue,
just feel,
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Like you could just feel how light he was. And it was just really refreshing to be able to see him just exist and see light in his eyes.
One of my biggest roses in this book is Riddick. Just getting more time with him, getting to see him develop more as a character. Obviously, every humorous moment with him is absolutely needed. I love his humor throughout the whole book. Even just his snarky little one-liners, like that scene you were just talking about where he's like, I'm so glad I got on a horse today.
I love him so much.
Like he's like, I can't wait to witness this. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
God, there are so many. I do love the dream walking reveal for sure, but also all the gifts in
the
Zinal.
Gifts, yes.
Broccoli. They're like bizarre, cryptic offerings. It's so very like fairy tale, metaphorical. It's just kind of like that's the kind of shit that I love. Like, why did they get like I loved that. Yeah. Deverelli in general, that whole section was really beautiful because of Xaden's, how he was able to be happy, but also Eric stepping up and proving that he'd be a better fucking king gave so much hope for like a new order. It was like a very hopeful moment for all in that. I don't know. I loved it. Yeah. Oh my God. But wait, also the Theophany fight. I mean, what?
Yeah, I love Theophany's like my favorite villain we've ever had in this.
100%. I love her.
I'm really sad that she's dead.
I know.
Because she's actually like dead. This doesn't feel like when Berwyn was killed and it wasn't really like a death. Like she was literally like stabbed and she desiccated in front of Violet's eyes. So like she's gone.
Like I would really love her to be a bud because I actually feel like she was such a rich character. But she gone.
Yeah, I
God.
already miss her.
Me
I
too.
love Dane in this book. I love his character arc. I
True.
love that we're seeing him have a redemption arc. I love that he's starting to have humor. Like we don't see him as being as uptight as he used to be. Now he's making jokes about like that same scene where he's like, "Are you speaking to me?"
Yeah.
And
What
he's
did
just
you
like,
give him?
yeah, what did you give him? Like, and his little like quip about how Sloane's gonna be the one to hurt him. Like he's starting to get more funny and like light and rule breaking, which we love.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love watching him develop in this way. It's really great after everything
Yeah.
we've been through with him.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Me
Yeah.
too. What about thorns? What are our thorns?
I think my biggest thorn that's like not just something like, oh, I wish this didn't happen but was great for the story, you know.
Mhm.
There's tons of those in this book,
Mhm.
but an actual like thorn for me that I didn't love about Onyx Storm is the hints we get about Imogen and Garrick. We get a few hints. Obviously we know Imogen is in love with Garrick. We have no idea how Garrick feels about Imogen.
Mhm.
Like it didn't feel like enough, you know what I mean, for
Yeah.
their storyline. Their storyline just felt very like pushed to the side. Like we got more about Dane and Sloane, I felt like, than Garrick and Imogen, who are
Mhm.
characters I feel like have been foreshadowed for that for longer.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we were in Imogen's POV, we didn't get much other than her dragon being like, why haven't you made a move there yet?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, you know, we get that line from Riddick too about them, like, why won't you guys just fuck already? But like, I never even see them flirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
It did kind of
yeah.
come
it
out of
felt-
like left field.
Yeah.
Where it
Yeah,
was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
it kind of felt forced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish
absolutely.
we'd just gotten more of that if that's the direction she's going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my biggest thorn was the not quite plot hole, but not plot hole magic off the continent situation.
Yeah.
I just feel like it wasn't totally explained super well to where the little hints that were dropped, like, oh, they're hurting so much. But then it was like, but nobody seems to really be pointing that out.
Or
Yeah.
actually be in pain. Like the
Or
writers
actually
didn't seem
being
to
in
be in pain.
pain.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
writers didn't seem to be in pain, which was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did feel a little plot holy. And like on top of that, a thing a lot of people have complained about the book is that we go to the islands, but they're still not on the map in the beginning of the book. And it's really like conceptually hard
Yeah,
to
that
like
is.
see what she's talking about on their travels.
Yeah.
And it's a
Super
major
fair.
it's a major complaint people have about the book, and she has said it's because she didn't want you to open the book and like it be ruined that we're going to the Isles like on the first page.
I mean, I understand that though.
Which I understand, but then put
Do
a
an
new
insert.
map.
Put a new
Do
map.
an insert that
New map in the
opens.
back. No, new
Yeah.
map in the back. Put one map in the front, one map in the back.
Yeah. But you know,
Yeah.
all of these people would be like, well, I went to the back first.
Well, then that's your own problem. Like
exactly. You did that to yourself.
you did that to yourself.
I'm like picturing it as like a kid's book where it has like the little
little thing.
Yeah.
A pop up.
No, not a pop-up would be adorable, but like the thing where it's like the folded pages, and so when you open it, you have to open it again,
Oh,
and it's the new map.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But it reminds
love
me of When the Moon Hatched, where she felt the same way about the family tree, so she put it in the back of the book after you'd read it. And I don't see why we didn't just do that. You know what I mean? Because I agree, it would have been nice to like get to the end and be like, okay, so this is what the world looks like now that we've been there, and it helps me understand a little more. But yeah, I agree with that one. The other one being like the whole, can venin hide the red veins in their eyes or can they not? I'm really confused about that. I'm sure it's supposed to be confusing, but it feels like a plot hole. Like thing. It's just like it feels weird.
Agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some buds then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, for the next book. I mean,
so many.
So much.
I mean,
Andarna.
Let's pick a big one.
Andarna and the Irids.
Yes.
Andarna
like,
and the
we
Irids.
still don't know why she came back at the end of the book. Like, she definitely didn't fly to their home because it would have been way too far. And we all know that she can't fly very fast because of her wing. So she got what, like a quarter of the way and then told Leothin or whatever that she's turning around? Like,
it doesn't make
Great question.
And why?
Well, obviously the 6 most powerful lore, like all of that. The missing riders, like we need to know.
Yes.
No. The brother reveal. We got to know.
Okay.
What else?
My biggest one is Grandma Niara.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I have questions and thoughts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lots
I
of
mean,
thoughts.
I think she's definitely going to go visit her next book for
She's
sure.
got to.
It's so juicy.
It's
So
so juicy. I also think that she may have been somebody in some of these epigraphs.
Oh.
And the family's I think the family cut
Okay.
off ties with her. And
Okay.
that's why. Because they even say how Mira found out that it was actually Lilith and Asher who cut ties, not the other
Right.
way around. And yeah.
I always thought it was because of Violet's dedication that they fell out over it. And that Niara did not agree with what her own son did.
I fuck with that.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens there.
Big bud with Grandma Niara.
Yeah.
I also can't wait to
excited.
see how Taryn and Violet, Sigale, and Xaden function
Yes.
next book.
Absolutely. The dynamic.
The
yeah.
I mean,
dynamic.
talk about a big one.
Talk about a
Huge.
big dynamic shift, especially because I feel like there's a lot of foreshadowing that Taryn and Sigale did break their mate bond.
Ah, I
devastating.
don't want it.
It doesn't mean that they're not going to get it back.
I know.
But it's also
But that also means that they have to be separated now.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
they're going to be separated.
well, and it's
that
also
we know.
it was the only way to also keep Violet safe from them killing her to kill Xaden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
leash.
Yeah, the leash. So I really do think that's what happened because Taryn, like we said, too, feels more strongly about Violet than a normal dragon. So I think he would do anything to protect her.
I think so too.
But
I
also
think
at the
that's one
same
of those
time, it's
things.
kind of crazy because it's like
His mate.
like Xaden and Violet got married, which technically is like a bond, and then Taryn and Sigale deconstructed their bond, and it's just
To
like
keep
the
them safe.
inverse again. Ugh,
Yeah.
to keep them both safe. I don't know. It's just
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the dream walking. I can't wait to see Imogen and Violet bond more. I definitely think that's coming, that they're going to be like besties because
Yep.
they're going to share their grief together. Imogen was there when Violet and Xaden obviously got married.
Yep.
Like,
Also,
I can't
I'm
wait.
curious to see who doesn't make it to graduation
I know.
because we know it's one of the core.
I know.
Oh.
Or maybe
Well-
it's foreshadowing that they all make it to graduation. Don't say that.
Wouldn't that be grand?
Wouldn't it be grand?
Wouldn't it be nice?
Okay, squad.
Yep.
We survived Onyx Storm. Barely. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next theory spiral.
And if you liked today's episode, please leave us a review. It's basically like handing us chocolate cake after a long battle. We'll love you forever.
We also want to hear from you. What was your favorite part of Onyx Storm? The chaos, the theories, or just the dragons being dramatic? Come hang out with us on Instagram or TikTok. But before we go, it's time for our favorite part, announcing our next book pick.
Drum roll, please.
This October, Saucy Scribes will be covering Shield of Sparrows.
Woo!
And I'm very excited.
More magical creatures, more drama, and we'll be there with too many theories and probably not enough wine. See you next month. Saucy
Saucy Scribes.
Out! Love you guys.